rolling.
What's up, everybody? Episode 96 of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast.
Olé.
We are brought to you by Black Belt Digital Marketing. Anything you need to build your business, on or offline, website design, Google Ads, graphic design, printing, we can help. Check us out at Black Belt Digital Marketing on Instagram, or check out our website, bbdigitalmarketing.com, and request a free review of your entire online presence today. My name is Milton Campus. I'm a brown belt training out of South Florida. What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Bo behind the camera.
Hello.
Miguel sitting in that seat there.
Right here.
Actually here.
Miguel riding shotgun.
Not the little Miguel.
Shout out to our booking manager, Britt. Thank you, Britt, for all the hard work. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and click that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate the support.
Hit the bell.
Not that you guys haven't been awesome already, but make sure you're following
Thank
us. Make sure that you are. Yeah, man.
And
It's
the bell.
yeah. Click that little bell, that little reminder bell, and you'll get a notification every time we launch a new video or episode on YouTube.
Do you have anybody in your gym saying like, "Hey, man, I watched the podcast. Pretty cool."
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, I got
the
a couple.
drill down was named by Justin.
Yep.
I had one of the girls the other day go, is that your podcast? I get a lot of that, like, is that yours?
Yeah.
You got to remember, like, not everybody maybe watches on YouTube, but maybe listens and they don't see us.
Did I tell you what my coach did? I think I did tell you.
You told me
There's another guy that does a podcast in my gym. His podcast is like Hell Has an Exit, and it's a lot about like the people who have like addiction stories and stories like that.
He told me, and
how they come on.
I looked at his.
It's pretty dope.
Looked at his trailer. I watched his trailer on his.
And so he trains. So our coach like put us to drill with each other, so he could come by and say like it's the podcast versus podcast.
Did the guy know before? He
I didn't know he had one. And then we were like learning like some grip breaking drill, I believe it was. And then it turned into like, so what's your podcast about?
And the funny thing is, like, I'm almost always wearing a flow and roll gi, and it has the patch on it.
Yeah.
It has it on the stomach or under the chest, and it has at least one patch. I
wear that one like every other Wednesday.
One, right?
Yeah, the blue one.
So it says it already. So then, like, I think people like,
I cycle.
Yeah, they go.
Yes.
But yeah, I have a few people. I went to.
It's weird.
I went to a fight a couple of weeks ago with my wife. Got to meet Roberto Santiago. Shout out to Roberto.
Hey.
Thank you for all the support, all the awesome help. He's the guy that's responsible for us. Really like wound up getting us to Rashad Evans, George Pirro. Right?
He was one of the original.
He was in the mix and suggested either that guest or somebody that.
He supported the show too. He's like one of the original Patreon guys.
Yeah, one of the original Patreon supporters. He's the reason why we were featured in the Sun Sentinel.
That's right.
So that's awesome. So, but my point was, I get to meet him, but my wife is always messing with me. We don't go to a lot of fights, so we're out a lot. But she'll be like, "Are a bunch of people going to come up to you and ask to take your picture?" She's messing with me, And I'm like, I don't know, maybe somebody might recognize me. If we went to a jiu-jitsu event, I would think more so than like a straight up MMA. But yeah.
I wonder what it would be like if we went to like an IBJJF, like as a guest or something.
I definitely think that we should.
Podcast.
I know that you've talked about. Are you going to be competing?
Yeah. I actually just renewed my registration this morning. I got it signed by Henzo Gracie.
I will absolutely be going. Oh, yeah. Oh, really? That's awesome.
I had to change affiliation.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I will definitely be there, and I would I'm hating life because that I didn't go to the ADCC. I'm so upset that I didn't go to the ADCC.
I told you,
Sean had tickets for us. We just had to go get. I knew months and months ago that he was going to do it and have tickets.
Can we just talk about one thing about ADCC? I'm glad we missed one thing.
What's that?
That announcer lady.
Oh, yeah. My wife
from Brazil.
I didn't realize, if I'm not mistaken, she's the one championship lady.
I think so.
Is it the same? I watched my first one championship event, or started to watch my first one on Prime, and I hear it. Now, I had watched a couple of fights, and I hear it. I'm like, that's the same freaking lady.
Yeah.
Now, my wife had been like in the room when I was watching 11 hours of 12 hours of ADCC on that Sunday. It was
still good. It's like captivating, but you were just like, what is going on?
So she came home at some point, sat down, and I was watching. She had heard it on the ADCC and was like, that is fucking annoying. What's wrong with this lady?
So I was the opposite. I didn't think it was annoying.
So I had never heard her before. So I'm like, It was kind of great when she starts screaming the names and you couldn't understand her. It was weird.
Yeah.
And then when I watched the One Championship the other day, I watched them in the morning, went to jiu-jitsu. I put it on again in the afternoon, and she starts. I forgot to tell my wife, and she starts announcing, and my wife just goes, "Oh no, please!" And I'm like, "Yeah, right. It's the same lady." She was so annoyed, but my wife's a gamer. She lets me watch. Thank
it's
God.
Unique.
She bought me the tickets and she lets me watch a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So she doesn't give me a lot of shit. She knows that I could be out. She knows people that are freaking out at the bar.
The devil,
and the addiction of like the football addiction and that whole like fantasy football. She's like, thank God you're not like that. I could live with go to jiu-jitsu, come home, watch fights. We go out to watch fights and stuff like that. So it's cool. So joining us today is returning guest BJJ After 40's Mike SpiderNinja Bidwell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Remember him, right?
I know him.
You know him. You weren't with us on the first podcast. No. Okay.
I watched it.
Yeah. Great dude. I love his take on jiu-jitsu. He's amazing. You can check him out at BJJ under 40 on Instagram, everywhere, on Instagram, Facebook. I watch it on the gram. Great dude. So stick around. He has an incredible take on jiu-jitsu. He's just a really nice guy. A few quick shout outs, guys. So thank you to our friends over at Flow and Roll, hands down the best custom gi and no gi gear in the business. Don't believe us. Just visit them on Instagram at flow_n_roll. Check out all the custom designs. They create stuff for academies all across the country. You can find our podcast tee on their site now as well. Go check them out. Again, it's at flow_n_roll on IG, or visit their website, flowandroll.com, and get 20% off with code JJD. Thank you to the BJJ box for all their support. They are jiu-jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box, right? It's delivered to your door filled with, I know we have one on the way. It's delivered with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and a lot more.
One question that I got asked. 6-minute rolls, 6-minute rounds, jiu-jitsu
sub my BJJ box tee.
One question I got out in the wild. There's different tiers, right? It's not just like a one BJJ box. There's like, you can find something that works for you in terms of like what you want to receive.
There's monthly, there's quarterly, there's the VIP box. I forget the name of the other one that comes with the rash guard. That's more, I think, quarterly.
Yeah.
And he has a we don't mention it, but he also has another brand. It's like a fitness box, so he has that one as well. I believe it's linked from the BJJbox.com.
If you want to fitness that into your regimen.
They find the best products in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items that you're going to love. Use coupon code JJD10 for $10 off your first order. All right. And I know that we've got another box on the way. So probably next episode
as
we'll
DJ
do an
Khaled
unboxing.
would say.
Okay.
Another one.
Thank you to Neutral Zone Clean.
Limpio. Mira.
Number one, thank you for the box of swag.
Thank you for watching us in the background while you're in the office. Mike.
Yeah,
I saw the shout out.
Today. That was
yep,
cool.
Yep.
Bo, you got this? Yeah. All right. Got a little
looking clean. I'm
back.
looking clean, y'all.
All right. That one's
it's a very comfortable sweater. Is he selling the sweaters now? Or is this just for us?
This is just swag. I don't think he's got it on the site.
Okay.
Bo?
Y'all are missing out.
We actually got one for you too, Bo.
Because fall is upon us.
It's going to be like going into the 70s, or is it 68 or the low 70s today?
69 would be nice.
Of course. I think this is like the coldest, the first cold night that we're having in South Florida. So NeutralZoneClean.com and at NeutralZoneClean on Instagram and Facebook. Now this is separate from Neutral Zone CBD, right? Neutral Zone Clean. These products do not have CBD in them, but they are, right,
for
hygiene products, right? I spray myself when I get off the mat. I use the wipes.
I need one of these for my car seat, man.
So, okay. Ask and ye shall receive.
Really?
This was very specifically sent for you. So
you
got,
did he hear that I ran out?
I think he probably either heard that. Sorry. Either he heard on the podcast, or I think I might have said something like, gotta get something for you.
Yeah.
I don't remember how it happened.
He shouldn't have
Whatever
done
it is, Mike's awesome. Candy are awesome. Mike and Candy from
They
the couple
are,
that
they
run
are
the
awesome.
company,
I was going to buy it tomorrow.
own the company,
Yeah.
and they are keeping
thanks,
us
guys.
in swag. So you've got that. So this is all about being clean on the mats, training, personal life. I just finished my canister. I'm going to have my this. Was there a canister here already? We didn't have a canister out.
No, not the
Yeah.
big one.
No. There wasn't one
This
on the
one?
table. No, the canister. That's a canister. The other one that I just gave you.
Oh, this one.
That.
It's
That-
English
I
is
call
my
it a
second
canister.
language, sir.
That canister, I've got to
Canister.
put one in my car now.
Okay.
Because I ran out of the big. I got remember the original sample that I
yeah.
keep on mentioning.
The white label.
I've got one wipe in there that I've already used once, and I stuck it back in there because I'm like,
Yeah.
I need a wipe. So I got a canister to replace it with. Go to the gas station, get in my car after shaking somebody's hand.
Yeah.
Like I'm always like,
All the
Wipe it
fans,
up.
you know,
Yeah.
all the fans that come up.
yeah, all the fans that ask me for autographs.
I will
So
say one thing: 1 ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. After all the staph stories and the ringworm story, and I've experienced it in the gym. I've seen
Yeah.
the guys who come in with like the tape around their calf type stuff,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're just like, today's the day.
yeah,
I go to the bathroom and grab some hand sanitizer and rub it on myself before I get in the
when
car.
you're done, right?
But this is the solution to
Yeah.
not rubbing hand sanitizer on
I
yourself.
spray myself, and either if I have the canister with me, I wipe myself down.
Still go to the shower.
I carry a towel with me, so
Yeah.
I spray myself down.
When you mentioned that, I started doing it for the
Yeah,
car
why
seat.
not?
For the car seat.
And look, there's some people that are like, "Oh, that's cool, that's great," and then some people like, whatever.
Hey,
Clean yourself, you dirty bastard.
where are these My Neutral Zone washable, replaceable, affordable car seat covers? Know what I mean?
I put a towel when I leave.
But
I put a
imagine just
towel.
like the elastic car seat cover that you just take off after training and you put
And
on
throw
it,
it in.
and then you put it with your laundry.
That's a big one. I don't know if that's a Neutral Zone Clean type thing, but check them out at Neutral Zone Clean on Instagram.
Please.
NeutralZoneClean.com. Use code JJD and you get 15% off. Now, they're doing a special sale. It is for
The Mega Bucket.
this is the 1,200 count bucket
Yeah.
canister. This is normally like 109, like 109.99.
Yeah.
Right? Great for your academy. Oh, are you getting that right? Great for your academy.
That's right.
Great for an event,
Mm-hmm.
a jiu-jitsu event, a wrestling event, when you're touching each other or you're on the
When
mats.
you're touching it.
In not a weird way like you're
Yeah.
thinking. This is perfect to, listen, I would love to see this in every gym, right? Just off to the side.
How
you
many
get off
times
the
do I talk
mat,
to you
let them-
off air about amenities? It's
Yeah.
like, bro, I'm going to a gym. I want some amenities,
Yeah.
man. Like, you go to Planet Fitness, they got towels for you.
Yeah.
Like,
This is awesome. Look, use code JJD GIFT, GIFT. You'll get this bucket for $99. It's $10.99 off and free shipping, right? That shipping can get expensive on something like this. You're getting free.
I think they legally have
You're
to put
getting
the
free
weight up.
shipping.
64 ounce, dude.
And if you buy anything else, the coupon code's not going to work for that stuff. If you buy anything else, the shipping will be free. They'll put it all in the same box.
Yeah, man.
Okay? All right. So, again, check them out. NeutralZoneClean.com.
Are they Italian? I'm just because of the look, everything is.
No, it just matches the logo.
Neutral Zone.
All right.
Coming to get it.
Shout out to Neutral Zone CBD as well. All right. No matter if your aches and pains are coming from lifting weights at the gym, rolling on the mats, or just the daily grind of life, Neutral Zone has a product for you. Find your Neutral Zone by finding the best products for your pain wellness so you can continue your active lifestyle.
That's right.
Check them out at NeutralZoneCBD.com. Use code JJD for 25% off your order. That's the highest discount
We're
code
over
that they
here,
have.
right here.
We're in the CBD. And look, I put this here not to like put it in front of the camera.
He uses it.
I use it
That's
during
his.
the show. I used it before.
Yeah.
I didn't. We took a little break before. I didn't.
For self-defense, he uses
I usually don't put it on the middle of the show. I keep it here in case I'm like, I've done it when like the guest is.
I think you shouldn't be so mysterious. Listen, when the guest is talking, we know that the video is the guest talking.
Yeah, it goes. It
And
cuts to
then
them.
that's when we
Pick our noses.
Yes.
Rub
rub Neutral Zone on each other.
fix our junk. Miguel takes his shirt off and I start rubbing him with CBD. And I actually use. Look, it's almost. It's almost gone.
You're telling people for you listeners.
I actually use this one. I love it. You know what I used last night? I used the
Hey,
balm.
Bo, send me that audio when he's shaking that thing.
The balm.
Yeah.
I used the balm last night on my neck. I told you I got some back issues.
Mm-hmm.
I used the balm on the upper back and my neck. It was great.
Don't want to get it back.
Still wake up in the morning and you still feel it. It's still there.
Yeah.
So, neutralzonecbd.com, code JJD for 25% off. All right. All set. Let's get Mike in here. Ready to do it?
Let's get him.
Let's do it. Hey, Mike, how you doing? How's it going?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, man.
Hey, cheers.
Hey.
Nice
Shameless plug.
Nice mug. Well, I'm drinking out of this
Only
neutral
the
zone.
best podcast. Ooh, it makes my drink taste even better.
Yeah, right. Tell everybody that. Go jiu-jitsudummies.shop. Get your coffee mugs.
Started early
Something
on this
about that
one.
mug, baby.
Yeah.
You know what?
You know I love that mug.
Thank you, man. I see you post. I know you post a lot. I'm sharing your stories. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
How good is the
Dude,
hand
but
space?
it's my favorite mug. It's my favorite mug.
Everybody likes
and look
this.
how well it's held up.
Everybody likes it. You can get all four fingers in there if you wanted to.
He's got some.
Oh,
freaking-
I don't think I do that. I do like this weird support thing here.
Yeah.
It's like I do this.
You got
it is.
I don't know why I do that.
It's
my technique.
Yeah.
I guess so it doesn't tilt.
I actually do the same thing. I actually do the
It's a
pinky.
nice big hole.
I see it.
I do this. I do
I'm
the
lobbing
same.
that over the plate for somebody to give me a "that's what he said."
I do the
Or
same.
she.
I do the same pinky brace. The pinky brace.
On the smaller one, yeah, I'll do
That's-
it like this.
That's
I do it anyway. Any mug, I do the pinky brace like he does. Yeah.
I was gonna say.
You know what's
just without
weird?
thinking.
I don't think that I realized that I did that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you ever doing a jiu-jitsu technique and then all of a sudden you're teaching it. You ever teaching a technique and then you're like, let me actually see what I do when I'm rolling, and then you're rolling and you're like, wow, that's totally different than when I'm teaching. Like I'm doing stuff differently.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? I hold my mug different than I recognize.
I mean, that's one of we've talked about it a lot where I have lost when I used to teach at white belt and blue belt, when I helped my coach, I feel like I was so much more technical. Even at brown belt, like I haven't coached for years other than helping out a training partner with something. And I see that when I do, I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, I'm supposed to put my leg there. I don't do that. I'm teaching it the right way, but I don't do it the right way. And that's how I catch it. So that's why I'm like I love to coach, or like I should go back to coaching, because I feel like you really work out your technical shit.
I think you're batting 1,000 at mentioning that.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. No, I love it. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Other than learning jiu-jitsu, it's like my favorite thing about jiu-jitsu is like
supporting.
Especially like, if I get somebody with the same move all the time, I always wind up being like, look, this is the counter, or this is how to get out of that. And then they get out of it, and I do the next thing that I would normally do if they got out of it. And then they're like, dude, you just fucking showed me how to get out of this. Why are you choking me again?
I don't.
For every level, there's another level.
I don't want to one up a black belt and a brown belt, but like when I'm teaching, my coach looks at me and usually shakes his head.
Don't teach
like this and says, "Stop!
Like, no.
Just keep drilling.
Please don't do that.
You're not only a blue belt, but you're like a bad one." So.
That's not true. You know that's not true. My coach usually goes, "Hey guys, save it for Facebook."
Yeah,
that's his reference. Save it for Facebook. You want to talk? Save it for Facebook.
Hey, you know what? I got a question, because this has been happening to me a lot. Like we've been having. I think my coach is doing a great job at getting new recruits. You know, in the gym, and so like these white belts, he puts me. I feel like he does a really good job of matching people with white belts that know how to. I mean, with who you are, to treat a new guy. And I feel like I'm in that bucket for some weird reason. Like he knows you're not going to be a dick to a new guy. And there's not really a lot of dicks. But my question is like, so I'm doing the drill. We're practicing entries into Ashigarami from De La Hiva, and the white belt was just like, oh, should I do this, or like, what do I do if you have my foot like in a straight foot lock? Like, what's my defense? And I know the curriculum, so like I know kind of like what he's going to teach next, because that's like the cycle that we're in right now. And I go, hey man, he's going to say that like 2 steps from now. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, not that I don't know how to tell you, but like it's not my place, and like just focus on getting this right.
And that's a typical white belt, kind of mentality. It's like wanting to know all the answers on the front end, right? Like And so what I tell people that jujitsu it's a very deep rabbit hole, but we're here right now. We're going to get to there. We're going to get to there. Like all those questions that you have, we're going to get to every one of them. Like we have them all mapped out and figured out, but we got to be right here right now because getting to here, we got to go somewhere deep for that.
Yeah.
And we're not there right now. Like we need to master these steps first before we can even think about doing that. It's kind of like if you were learning how to do stand-up, right? Like you wouldn't be trying to figure out how you're going to set them up, how you're going to do all the combinations, what everything's going to look like. You just need to learn the 4 basic punches first, right? The technique of it, understand that before you can start adding all the what if scenarios. What happens if this happens? What if that happens, right?
I thought you were going to talk about stand-up comedy for some weird reason. And
if you're doing stand-up comedy,
no, but you were like, how to set him up, how to take him. I was like, why is he talking about stand-up? And I guess that's where my
stand-up comedy, right?
Yeah,
that'd be good. No,
you made me Miguel's question or your observation about you being on the list of people that your coach puts you with, like, or
it feels that way. I don't know. It's not official.
Yeah, but if you feel it, it's probably a real thing. I kind of feel like I used to be the mat enforcer at my first school because I was like the first student. I was kind of the mat enforcer. If there was somebody being a dick, it was I knew my job.
You knew how to handle dicks.
When I got to Felipe's, Did you hear that, Mike?
No, what was that? What did you say?
Go ahead.
He's like, you would put me with the dicks, and I was like, oh, you knew how to handle dicks.
Uh-oh, no.
Hey, thank you.
A lot of dick talk today.
It's one of those days.
So when I got to Felipe's, he used to do the same thing. I was the mat enforcer. If somebody came in, he would always put me with, he'd make sure I was like with the new guy that was coming in to see like where that guy was at. Mm-hmm. And it's just not like that anymore. I'm not even close to that anymore.
How does that process go for a gym owner? Because like those are real positions, even though they're unofficial. Like, do you have positions for guys or girls or whatever?
I do and I don't. Like, honestly, my wife is probably the enforcer in our school, which is actually perfect because I don't. She's willing to accept that responsibility and she loves it. And she's, 120-pound female, so she's the perfect enforcer, right? And the thing about her is that it's like getting your ass kicked by a unicorn. Like, it's almost like mocking. She's like, my wife, I think she's beautiful, but she's a pretty girl. And, she'll joke and kind of, poke fun at you as she's submitting. Oh, I got you in a triangle. Ha ha. And you're going to tap now. That's right. And, you know what I mean? So she's like, she's perfect for it because it's so unsuspecting. For me, I wouldn't want my enforcer to be like a 250-pound person. Like, it's got to be, to me, somebody who like is small, like a 120-pound female or somebody like that you're like, oh God, there's no way this person could kick my ass, and you let jiu-jitsu do the speaking for you, right?
Yeah.
They're out there. Those sneaky little ninjas.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a lot of at my school, we do open mats on Saturday and Sunday. So we definitely have a lot of people that come through that are just like complete strangers and would come in. And during the week, he's pretty open to somebody. Usually, I think during the week, he's got probably you're coming from a gym that he knows. He knows the coach and like he knows you're coming. I don't think we really have a lot of people just coming to a training session on a Monday through Thursday.
No, man.
Do you have a lot of people? Do you have people that come through, or do you do open mats?
I get a lot of gym? What I get more is I get a lot of people from out of town. Like, people love Colorado. It's somewhere you'd go for vacation. It's on most people's bucket list. So I get a lot of people that travel from out of town that maybe follow my BJJ After 40 community or somehow part of that, or they like the stuff that I put out or whatever it happens to be. So I get a lot of that where people will come and stay for a few days and train or pop in, that kind of thing. And it's never, ever anything negative. It's always been like something positive, and people are really cool. Yeah. And it's usually kind of guys like our age, guys like in their 40s and 50s, or girls that, are sort of interested in it. So I don't really get a lot of like any of the hostility. Like, back in the early days, you used to get more of that. I started jiu-jitsu in 1996. And so I feel like in those days, you definitely got people that came in that were kind of dicks, and looking for like,
dojo storm.
Does jiu-jitsu even work? And that, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, again, just like following you online and having spoken to you now for, on the podcast for the second time, like I think you would kind of know, like if I show up at Mike's gym, you know, I'm not going to be the fucking dickhead aggressive guy. Like you have such a kind of like, you know, chill demeanor. You know, nothing. You know, I'm not saying that like the jiu-jitsu isn't incredible, but you have such a calm demeanor that, you know, somebody that would come in would like automatically be so out of place if they just got aggressive with everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
And especially in the type of environment that we teach in, we teach more from a holistic perspective. So everybody in our school is super cool. You know, we roll hard, we train hard, just like everybody else. Oops, I just dropped my earpiece. But we're always, you know, like everybody's super cool with each other. Like it's just, you know, I think it's the culture, right? Don't you? Like it's the culture of the gym, how people treat each other. I don't think that a person like that would probably feel comfortable in high school. Yeah. It just wouldn't be their vibe, you know. It's just not the vibe.
I mean, I told the story about a guy that came in, and when in no-gi, I always used to have a T-shirt on. Like I'd wear a rash guard, but I had a T-shirt on. It was, you know, big dude. I don't like the skinny guys, ripped guys in their rash guard. So in my own head, I just wore a T-shirt over it. I don't want my.
Is the equivalent of fat kid at the pool?
Yeah. I got you. Absolutely. I mean, I didn't like to wear just a rash guard.
I feel that.
And I had a stranger come in, and we were flow roll, like first roll flow. They put me with him, you know, and he just went fucking crazy. And I just like looked over at Sophia. There's a husband and wife team. I looked at Sophia and I'm like, what, you know, like, am I going to go, like, I looked at her like, what do I do? Like, am I going to go ham on this guy and I was like, like he went crazy. He didn't submit me, but I like tapped. I said, hey, stop. I go, do you know how to flow? And he just didn't answer me. And then was just like, wanted to go again, went hard. And then I just kind of rolled over and I was like on the mat looking at Sophia again, like, what, you know, do I go fucking nuts on this guy? Cause I'm trying not to be a dick.
Always.
And he pulled up my shirt from behind. I was like sweaty at that point. And he goes to like choke me with the shirt.
What the fuck?
Exactly. I was just like, this is the craziest thing that's ever happened.
He's playing lapel guard.
And I think, I don't know if I took off the shirt. I forget if I took off the shirt or not. But then we like finished rolling and he was just a complete dick. And then, who's our fucking, Adolfo. Adolfo was there and I was just like I went to him like, hey, Adolfo,
big brother.
Yeah, on a Saturday is our mat enforcer. He doesn't train it. He used to be a coach at our school and comes to our open mats. And I gave him like the nod.
Well, his dad
and the guy gave him a hard time. He was like totally like, you could tell he was like a 10th planet guy, just going after legs all over the place. Yeah. And Adolfo was like a fucking, you know, fight sports black belt. You know, so he's no slouch by any means, you know, straight up under Cyborg.
He's an athlete, too. He's an active competitor.
I was going to say, too, you know, we used to be a fight sports location. So when people came down to Florida, I think they assumed that every fight sports location was like Miami HQ. You know, those guys are like the pro,
like you're going to throw down.
Like we're like, you know, our adults class is mostly hobbyists. You know, we do have, you know, we still to this day, even though they changed their name, you know, unaffiliated with fight sports now, we still have plenty of fight sports, you know, like coaches and other, you know, our coach is still friends with them. Still, they come in. So, you know, it's, again, we were a fight sports location. So I think people would think like, I'm going into the Lion's Den here. And meanwhile, I was like, no, we're not like the Miami fight sports, you know? So, I mean, did you kind of ever feel that? Like, there was a certain, like, the fight sports name.
Yeah, it had a thing to it.
You know,
sure,
certain, I guess, connotation, right? I was like, fight sports, like, you know, I mean, our coach trained with Cyborg like, during the week. He went down to Miami, trained, and came back and coached class. So I think there was kind of like that when people came in thinking, like, okay, I'm about to go in here and roll hard.
So we're going to throw down in here.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? It's funny. You have to have, like, so I do at least, like, you have to have your one or two moves for like dickheads.
Yeah.
Right. Like my move is I'll pull guard. I'll grab both their lapels and I big toe choke them. I take my big toe and I stick it right in their carotid or in their trachea. Yeah. And I make them tap. So they have to look me in the face and tap to my big toe. That's always a fun one.
So wait, what are you're pulling them into your guard?
Yeah. So just pull them down and stick your toe right in there as you're pulling.
You know what you should call that?
They will love you for that.
You should call that move the toe plata.
That's totally awesome. It's like a
go-go plata, but you just shove your big toe in their throat.
Toto plata.
Yeah. In my first gym, we used to, I don't know if did we grab, I think we grabbed both arms, and then we threw the leg around the outside arm.
TP choke?
And then the blade of the foot on like the small toe side, right? The blade of the foot into the throat. Yeah. That was like one of our we would call that a dick move. That would definitely calm somebody down. Yeah. They'd be like,
yeah, that's mine. Like that's my jam, dude.
Yeah.
And it's so fun because you get to look them right in the eye while you're doing it. Yeah. So
I do.
You got to go to like that when you want to slow somebody down?
When I want to, I get on top and then I get in side control. And I'm really good at putting shoulder pressure into your chin.
Oh, that's fun. Shoulder of justice, right? Yeah, that's a good one too. That's always fun. Yeah.
While I hold on, and sometimes I'll make sure to like if it's gi, I'll grab the gi, but I make sure to grab some skin while I'm at it.
Ooh,
you pull it out.
Dirty. I like it.
Yeah.
Dirty.
I had a white belt do that to me yesterday. We were doing like grips or whatever to get into ashi and in the gi, and every time he would just grab because he only knew pistol grip. He didn't know about like you roll your fingers into the gis,
right?
So he would like pistol grip like my ankle and grab like the hairs and yank them out.
Yeah, I love that, dude. I love when a white belt just grabs your like inside of your thigh and rips the hair with your gi, and you're just like, oh, dude,
if
what is
somebody
happening?
Does that to me all the time, I definitely do it. I wind up trying to do it back so they understand.
It's so funny how used to it you get though. Like at first it was like, what the fuck? Yeah. And now it's just like, again,
you're
like
we have, you know who we have in our gym that does that. I said his name once.
I don't remember.
Alan.
Oh,
Alan, super nice guy. But when he grabs you, he grabs the gi and as much skin as possible.
Everything.
I just make sure that he doesn't, I'm fighting the grips quickly, like stopping him right away.
Yeah.
He's a small guy, so he can do it if I don't want him to.
That's an interesting perspective that I guess you do internally just kind of make up your own, oh, you're going to behave this way. But at what point is it, like, does it turn into jiu-jitsu? Like, because sometimes you have people that you bang with all the time, but you do it not even in a cordial manner, but you just have this unspoken agreement that like, yo, when we roll and you don't say like not today, we go hard. Like we always have that person.
Yeah.
Do you think that's built over time or?
I think it is because my role like that is my wife. She's a black belt, and I've rolled with her. I promoted her to all of her belts. It took her almost 20 years to get her black belt. That was through 4 bursts. You know what I mean? She's trained all.
Were you laughing like he held her back?
Yeah.
He laughed.
I was
like,
you ain't getting promoted, girl.
Yeah.
Not
and then he goes,
like,
4 births. Now it makes sense.
Kiddos, yeah.
That's awesome.
4 kiddos. So.
Yeah, that'll slow things down.
So my point is that like I rolled with her as a white belt. I've rolled with her as a blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt. And I was, all those stages, I was a brown belt or a black belt. It wasn't like I was a blue belt. You know what I mean? So it was like me, brown belt, rolling with the blue belt, or a white belt. And there was, for a long time, I could kick my wife's ass. Like, she was smaller than me. I knew a lot more jiu-jitsu than her. So I would, try to stay within her reality and not, never try to hurt her or be mean about it. But, make it, same thing I tell my students, make it challenging, but not impossible, right? Like if you're a higher belt or you're a lot bigger, whatever, make it challenging for them, but not impossible for them. Don't make, don't break their soul. So for her though, like forever I could kick her ass. And then eventually like I couldn't kick her ass anymore. And now when we throw down, like we roll pretty hard. Like I think it scares people sometimes, but but that's how, we have that kind of unspoken agreement. We don't really say it. We just roll that way.
Yeah.
With other people, like I have a purple belt that I roll with. He's in most of my videos. His name's Jeremy. He's awesome. He's one of my best students. He's getting really tough for him. He's about to come up on brown belt. And with him, I always have to remind him, dude, we will get to here, but we got to start here, bro. Like, I don't want to start up here. Like, I don't want to start at 100 miles an hour. I know we will get there, but we got to start down here. We got to work our way up that ladder together, like not in some crazy way from the beginning. Because it's just not sustainable, like in the present moment or long term for your jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
That's what we were talking about. I was
before we go there, though, I was going to say I love the lockdown to electric chair. It's my slow somebody down move. It's like okay, if you're gonna go ham, I'm gonna put you in a lockdown. I'm gonna have I'm gonna put your leg over my shoulder, and my coach calls it the pee-pee splitter. I'm gonna
getting a lockdown in my gym is dangerous.
I'm going to look you in the face and do it really slow. And they think they're flexible until you get to a point where they're like, like they're feeling it in their nuts.
Yeah.
And
I love that, dude.
That's my slow somebody down move.
Oh, for sure.
That's my like, okay, I want you to know that I could do this to you probably whenever again, if it's a lower belt,
Yeah.
I could probably do this to you anytime I want. So let's slow it down and let's do some jiu-jitsu, not do the like.
Isn't that that's the question that I was asking? Like, what makes you the person that gets to say like, this isn't the jiu-jitsu that I want to do? Like,
I think everybody. I think every single person that trains jiu-jitsu is allowed to say that.
Right.
I think that whether you're a white belt or you're a black belt, you get to tell your partner, "Hey, look, I want to roll like this right now. I don't want to go crazy. Hey, let's flow. Hey, can we start from this position? Yeah. Can we do that?" I think everybody should have a voice. I don't think everybody realizes that they're allowed to have that voice when they start.
So does the person who wants to go slower always supersede the person that doesn't?
I'm gonna kind of answer this first by saying I heard somebody the other day say, I don't know, it was like probably a post or social media. It's like, stop trying to win practice.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Right?
Yeah.
Stop trying to win practice. Yeah. You're not here to. Yes, I know. Like some people come for stress relief, and they'll come in and they need to get out the aggression, and then they go home, and then you see them in 2 days, and then they do that again. But that doesn't mean you have to roll with them. It doesn't mean that that's okay for you. Mm-hmm. You could tell them. I tell certain guys, I'm like, I said this to, was it Tom? I think I said this to, I think it was Tom. I said,
Bearded Tom.
Yeah. Well, he shaved it all off. He's completely bald now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow.
I said, I just looked at him. I go, ADCC or are we going to flow? And he just smiled and laughed. And then he didn't really answer me. And then we rolled because he goes freaking ham. He's a fight sports guy too. He's got
one
belts
speed.
from Cyborg down, right? He's got one speed. It's like go hard.
He's a fucking
and I'm a guard puller, so it's just like I'm like he's a judo black belt, a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, judo black belt, and it's just like okay, go ahead, go ham. And like again, I'll pull guard and then I'll play from the bottom, and I can't catch him in the lockdown as much as I used to. But,
once you get experience, guys, it's pretty hard to maintain a lockdown unless you have a really good lockdown and lockdown recovery game.
Yeah, I get. My coach teaches the lockdown so much that everybody kind of knows the defense.
But I think I've gotten to a point now where if you don't have like a Felipe or like a your level lockdown, that shit ain't holding me back.
Yeah.
Thank you to Feito IT and AV, specializing in commercial and residential automation, security cameras, CCTV, POS, and more. Check them out at feitoitav.com or call 305-428-2515 and let them know the dummy sent you. Thank you to Neutral Zone CBD, a combat family-owned company that supports athletes and the people who love them. Neutral Zone strives to deliver clean CBD products for sports recovery in gummies, lotions, balms, roll-ons, and more. After a competition, a hard rolling session, or a tough day on the job, Neutral Zone has a product designed to help you reduce inflammation, increase cell rejuvenation, and may even help with aging joints. Visit NeutralZoneCBD.com and get 25% off your order with code JJD. And follow them on Instagram too, at MyNeutralZone. Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box has now joined the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. The BJJ box is delivered to your door filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. The crew at the BJJ box find the best in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Visit thebjjbox.com and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box. And give them a follow on Instagram at TheBJJBox. Neutral Zone is combat family owned, so they know you need to keep yourself and your equipment clean. They created Neutral Zone Clean wipes and sprays for just that purpose. Neutral Zone products are formulated to reduce the risk of bacterial and fungal infections. Whatever's making you sweat, weight training, rolling on the mats, yard work, or just working around the house, Neutral Zone Clean wipes and sprays can make you feel and smell refreshed. Use code JJD to get 15% off your online order at NeutralZoneClean.com. While you're there, sign up for their newsletter to receive the latest info and updates on product launches like their new shower gel and soap bar coming soon. Are you Neutral Zone Clean? Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
Well, anyway,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
So what I was saying.
So we were talking about this before we got on.
No, I want to go back. I don't want to leave this subject yet.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, but like, so are you saying now that both people are right? So like the guy that wants to go ADCC, he's right, but he should always
go with somebody else that wants to go ADCC. But like, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You should be able. You should be. I'm saying this right now. If you're at a competition school, you're at a competition school. But there are probably more hobbyist schools than there are like aggressive competition schools. You should be able to go into your class, or you should be in a gym where you could be like, listen, no, I don't want to train. If I've got to go to work in the morning, I've got a family to feed, I'm running a business, I'm trying to build something. Yeah. I don't need to go. Even now, instead I came in, I got like back problem, a headache all week. I haven't been able to train just this week. I don't need that. That was my fault. I overtrained, but I shouldn't have to go to jiu-jitsu thinking, fuck, am I going to get hurt today? And what's going to happen to me tomorrow? Especially if you have like a physical labor type of job and then you can't do that job. This isn't like, nobody should. Yeah, we didn't sign up to.
I'm playing more devil's advocate.
I get it. Absolutely.
Because like I think if you want to be that guy who's got one speed and goes ham all the time, like I don't think it's wrong for you to be that guy. I think maybe it just comes down to finding that culture.
I didn't sign off on like, everybody gets to beat me up. Anybody that wants to really take it to me and potentially hurt me, I'm signing off that they could do it. Now, I didn't always have it. I'm going to be 50 years old this year. Yeah. I'm not going to – I know my limitations, and I know what happens with – I've gotten hurt with those people when they've gone hard. So I think if you want to train hard or you're going to do a competition, you absolutely should be working with somebody. Your coach should know your training, and your coach should be putting you with other people that are going to do that competition or that are in that same mindset. You can't put a guy that's going to train competition with an Allen. You can't put like Adolfo's going. I'm not saying Adolfo does this, but like
he's
Adolfo, and he's going to do whatever some IBJJF competition on the weekend or next week, and put him with an Allen like that. With Allen, you're going to fucking he's going to get hurt.
Are you conscious of that? Like, do you have to have competitors? I'm sure in your school and.
So we're not like a big competition school. Like we have a few people that compete. I'm not big. I mean, I competed years ago, but I'm not like a big competition school. Most of my students are honestly like anywhere from like, we have a lot of kids that we teach, tons of kids. And then we have like, 30-year-olds plus pretty much. And so, and I always too, like, I love what you guys were saying, but I look at myself as I am not, and I remind my students, I am not the thing that you need to get past. I am not it. My goal for you is not for you to be better than me. What do I have to do with that equation? Like, I am not the thing. My goal for you is to be the best version of yourself that you could possibly be, right? I always think like, Phil Jackson did not meet Michael Jordan before every practice, play a quick game of one-on-one just to make sure that Phil is still a good enough coach, right, to teach him, right? Like, it's not like that. Like, the coach is not the thing to get past. When I was a younger practitioner, I probably put myself in that position a lot because of my own ego. And I think as I get older, I just, my body can't take that. My wife reminds me and our students too, that like, I am in a sense the most important person in the school because I can't get hurt. Like we can't have Professor Mike get hurt because Professor Mike gets hurt, then who teaches classes, right? Like who's going to be in here to share with us? Like, so I always remind everybody, like, I'm not the thing to get past.
Yeah. And again, it's really what are you there for? Are you in the right school?
Yeah.
I love my school.
Yeah.
We're starting to have more competition adults. Mm-hmm. We didn't. I've been there 6-7 years.
The ladies program.
The ladies program is off the fucking hook. They've went to Vegas, got a couple of gold medals.
A lot of gold medals.
Right, a lot of gold medals. Right, they're training under Sofia Amarante. She's a multiple-time world champ.
She just got gold.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing. Now, okay, Felipe's not a big competition guy. He's got amazing jiu-jitsu.
The
He
kids
can hang
program.
with all of those fucking guys at Fight Sports when he trained. But, he's got a lower back problem. He's not going to, do, he's done 2-3 fight to wins, 1. He's amazing. He's
undefeated.
But it's not the same. Like, it's not, he's not trying to pump out adult male competitors.
It's not ALJ.
He is pumping out
kid competitors
that are off the fucking hook.
Yeah.
Those kids, like, it's everybody. It's just like pull guard, fucking guard, on bar.
Yeah.
It's like every when they put the highlights out, it's like
the same
pull
move.
guard, on bar, pull guard, on bar, pull guard. Like, these kids are just winning. That's his jiu-jitsu, though. Gets you in his guard.
Nice.
They can't do the lockdown yet, right? Right?
They can. They can do a lockdown.
No, they can't. You can't do the lockdown.
As a kid, you can't guillotine. I know that much.
He told me that, like, you can't. I don't think you can lock the leg down like that
from the bottom.
Yeah,
that sounds kind of.
He said something about it the other day. He was like, you can't do that in competition.
Sounds sus.
I could kind of see that though, because I've seen a few injuries from lockdown before.
Yeah.
I've seen somebody blow out their ACL get locked down.
If you have somebody in lockdown and they turn the wrong way, you're not doing anything but just holding them, and it could blow out their knee.
Yeah, because your knee is stabilized. If your body or hips twist.
Somebody comment or check that for us.
We don't know.
We'll see it in the comments.
That's a good question.
But he just told me that the other day, and I went like this. I'm like, I've been doing this to everybody. You've taught me this. This is your game. He's like, you can't do it. You can't do it in IBJJF.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, well, but the thing is, I'm not competing, so I'm doing it there.
As a kid.
And I know
to like,
I know to let go. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
As a kid, yeah.
Well,
I've done it as an adult.
He was saying it as an adult.
There's video proof of me doing it.
IBJJF?
Yes, IBJJF.
Okay, all right. We'll find out. Let me. I'll clarify with him and get
it was
get a better
World's
answer.
Masters 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I forget where we're going with that. So that's my move, but
we were talking about not necessarily being right or wrong on what style or what intensity you want to go at. It's more about finding the culture that fits the intensity that you want to go at.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, if I fly out to Colorado, I know what kind of jiu-jitsu I'm probably going to be doing. I'm not coming in there. If I did a lockdown on anybody, I'm doing a very gentle lockdown.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fucking wrench the.
Dude, I lock down everybody.
Yeah. I love it.
I love lockdown.
Again, for me, it became something like, I had blown out my knee. As a matter of fact, in kind of that transition, I got my knee, I wound up tearing my ACL and MCL. Oh. But when I came back, I started pulling guard a ton and getting people in there so that I can control the situation, so that nobody was getting super aggressive and putting pressure on my knee. So I just get kind of people there and play around with it, and then I just I fell in love with it. So then I just started doing it all the time. Yeah. But it's a great control position for somebody that's when somebody's going crazy. It's like, okay, let me.
That slows it down. It's great. Yeah. It's a good guard weight to slow things down too.
I use it as
kicking the leg and they just don't know what to do.
I do recovery either to recover my guard. Mm-hmm. I use lockdown to recover my guard mainly now, or get straight into dogfight. Yeah, I think dogfight right now is the bee's knees.
There's a great transition from there. Like if you don't have the lockdown, you've got like the outside leg over. You don't have to lock down, but then you grab that leg.
If you get into lockdown, you go double inside,
and then you sweep.
You're talking about reach in
you
front
don't
of the.
Do that. You just if you grab the leg, then you could just sweep. It's just a good, regular
underhook on the opposite side.
Yeah, you could just sweep. It's a real. Yeah. They kind of have to go like the leg. Your leg is kind of like this way, and you're kind of like, well, I guess I'm going this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're supposed to keep it hooked until you land in pseudo side control.
But he's doing it without the hook at all, though. He's been teaching it like not even getting the lockdown, just windshield wiper inside, and then just grab that leg, bring it to your butt.
Love it,
and just a sweep. So we're doing a lot of that. So less of
you're giving away a lot of secrets.
People have to. They have to kind of know
the jiu-jitsu secrets.
Hey, listen, I told you when I'm doing. Whenever I get somebody in the lockdown multiple times, once they stop, going. If it's not a situation where I'm doing it because they're going crazy, I always teach them how to get out of it, because I don't want to just be able to do this thing. Like, okay, look, I'm doing it to you because it's a big move in our gym. Mm-hmm. Let me show you how to get out of it now. These are the 2 ways that you can get out of it, and then they get out of it, and then and then it's like you sweep them or do something else to them, and they're like, "But you just told me how to get out of it." I'm like, "Yeah." Again, for every level, there's another level, right? Okay, now you're going to learn the next thing.
I'm still waiting to get trolled. There's so many.
As far as what? For what?
Like, there's so many jack dudes. Like, I still have like this mental complex, I think. There's so many dudes that come to my gym that are like, just like like good looking in the sense of just like body composition.
They look the part.
Yeah. That I always think I'm just like looking at them because I think they're like, and I think my coach is definitely capable of throwing in like a brown belt, like seasoned brown belt in a white belt, just that's from out of town. That's his buddy.
To trick everybody.
Yeah. I'm always secretly scared something like that's going to happen.
Let me look at his ears. Check his ears quick.
You know, I love what, and I'm trying to live. I actually just reposted it. It was an old clip of Brendan McCatherine on the show from 10th Planet, Decatur, right in Alabama. He said, we talked about like aggressive training partners, and the clip says, I don't only want to submit you, like I want to do it, like I forget how he says it, but basically want to gently submit you.
Yes.
Like, right?
Yeah.
So you're
not only going to let you go ham, but I'm going to submit you in like the most gentle way possible and truly show you what jiu-jitsu is. And I love that clip. I've posted it a couple of times because I love that. And I kind of feel like that's where I am at my life. I'm not saying that I'm the best guy in my gym. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying, I am, when I have guys going ham, like, you know, that big dude that we talked about that lost a lot of weight, he's still going freaking ham. He's a white belt going like,
but yeah,
like attacking you. He was like 300 pounds when he started, and now he's like in like the mid twos, and he's still coming at you super. I mean, you know, 250, 225 is still a big dude, and he's still going freaking crazy. And I'm like,
the stereotype is real.
I gotta like, he's like a guy that I always get into the, like, I gotta get him in the lockdown. If I'm gonna pull guard on him, which I don't always, but even if like I attack, he's just going so freaking crazy. It's a lot of weight to have to move around, regardless of belt level.
Yeah.
And it's.
Hickson has a great saying that to submit someone is not enough. And I love that. To submit someone is not enough. So what else is there, right? Like, well, am I doing it like clean? Am I doing it with precision? Am I doing it with the least amount of effort? Am I doing it with the least amount of strength and speed? Is it clean? Does it feel good? Did I do it so they don't even get hurt, so they can just tap right out, right? Like I love that. To submit someone is not enough, right? And it's not, like, especially at brown belt and black belt level, like it needs to be, you know, beautiful.
Clean.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
gentle art. I like what you said, gentle, right? The gentle art. Isn't that what we call it?
Yeah.
Was there, do you feel like you said before, like you weren't always like that? Was there a belt or like a point that you can kind of maybe put your finger on a little bit where you like,
I feel like,
go ham, and then you realize that, like,
well, yeah, because my situation's weird because I was a brown belt for 13 years. So, you know, being a brown belt for that long, it's like, it's not the normal, like, you know, when I was a brown belt, it felt this certain way. Well, I was a brown belt for a decade and a little bit more. So
remind us why. I know you, I think we talked about it on this episode.
Right. No, it's okay. So I started in 1996, started in the early mid 90s, got my purple belt in 1999, got my brown belt in 2001, got my black belt in 2014. People always say, you know, did you train the entire time? Yep, I trained the entire time. You know, some of it was, you know, just the moving and relocating and sort of the, not politics of that, but it's, you know, it's like every time you start with a new instructor, it's like literally like a relationship, you know, and a marriage and all of that. So I'd done that a bunch of times and just through like depression in my life and going through just obstacles in my own life that all, you know, slowed me down. So for me, brown belt was a long, different kind of journey than probably most people. I saw people that started as white belts when I was a brown belt in 2001 that got their black belt before I even got my black belt. Yeah. So I had definitely that weird, different perspective for, you know, the belts than probably a lot of people.
Do you mind talking about your depression? Do you I'm not sure how open you are talking about it.
No, totally. No, I post stuff about this, you know, frequently, you know, I've struggled with it, but I've had moments of struggle with depression my whole life. Depression is a weird thing because when people say they're depressed, a lot of times people go, well, come on, dude, you're fine. Like, look at your life. You're fine.
Out of it, right?
Yeah, dude, come on. You know, and I'm like, I grew up in New York. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, like, no one talked about that stuff like when we were kids. You know what I mean? I grew up in the 70s and 80s. No one was depressed back then, or no one talked about it, you know? So I've always, you know, I just always had those kind of highs and lows with, you know, with depression. And, you know, when the lows are really low, they can be really low and the highs can be really high sometimes. So, so for me, it's been about like, if it was like this, taking that curve and pulling it this way a little bit, right? Yeah. And trying to make those ripples a little bit less. For me, jiu-jitsu has been like life changing in that manner. Like really like embracing my jiu-jitsu and my path is like, for me, my medicine. Like it's jiu-jitsu therapy. Like how many times have you gone in to your academy or gone to train and you had a shitty day or you feel like crap or just things weren't going right or you're having a rough day and you roll, and then afterwards, how do you feel?
Amazing.
Yesterday.
Every time, literally, right? Yesterday. Isn't it crazy? It's kind of fucked up when you think about it, right? It's really kind of weird. Like it's like a freaking drug in that way. Like it's like you get your hit and you feel good now. Like and it's like it just does that for us. And I think for me, it's the go ahead.
I was gonna say I got a double whammy yesterday because like I came home and I was just kind of like, ugh, like I love my job, but it was just like one of those days like where nothing went right, you know?
Yeah.
And no matter what you did proactively, and so like I came home and wife was like, "What's up?" And I was like, "Yeah, today was just just shit. Like not in terms of like work, but just in terms of like the things that happened.
Rough day, hard day.
Yeah. And so she's like, "Yeah, go to jiu-jitsu. It'll make you feel better." And I was still kind of like, "I'm gonna go, but And then I went, and man, I was just like in my car, smiling on the way home, listening to what I wanted to listen to. Yeah. And I got home and I was like, "You were right." And then that, like, anytime you say that to your wife, bro, it's like bringing home flowers. Yeah. And so said that, and it was like a really good night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
it's crazy. Like, and I think a lot of it is you get a break from it for a second. You get a break from your thoughts. You get a break from, like when you're depressed, a lot of times people that go through depression, you sort of get like trapped in this weird little ecosystem, right? Like you're trapped in this little world now of depression. Like you feel depressed and everything's kind of dark around you. And sometimes if you can just get out of that for a moment and get somewhere else, like getting to jiu-jitsu, like, even if you're just you're feeling like shit, dragging your bag in the school, not saying a word to anybody maybe, right? And just let jiu-jitsu speak for you. I had a student recently came in for a private lesson and he was like super depressed when he came in. And in my head, I was like trying to prepare all these words and things I was going to say to him now, like to make him feel better. And you know what I did? I shut the fuck up for a minute. And I said, "Hey dude, just get your gi on. Let's roll. Let's just roll. Let's just roll for a little while." And we just rolled for like 45 minutes and no one said a word. And then afterwards, he was like a completely different person. And it was like, jiu-jitsu was better than my words, right? Like the art of jiu-jitsu could do way more than Mike and his words in that moment. And it was like, it was such a great reminder for me of like, sometimes just let jiu-jitsu be the medicine.
Yeah. I've said this on the show. I haven't said it to my wife in a really long time, but I know I've talked about saying this. I would tell my wife, if you want to argue with me or you want to basically get your way in a situation, like get me when I come home from jiu-jitsu. Like, don't get me. Like she leaves her work and then sends me like a message
after I take a fucking shit. Then you can talk to me.
She'll leave the house in the morning and send me a message, maybe something about like something she's bothered by, or like, "Hey, we need to talk about this later." And I tell her, I'm like, number one, I don't know why you got in the car and sent me a message. We're like live in the same house and sleep next to each other. You could have said something to me. But she's comfortable, like kind of like, I guess she feels a little, she's like, "I don't want to say it to you in the morning." She sends it to me, but I tell her, "Bro, get me after jiu-jitsu. Like, bring it up after jiu-jitsu. I am jello." It is like that, those few minutes, what do they say? Like the most honest moments for a man are like those few minutes after an orgasm.
Post-night clarity.
Like there's just like
you're gonna practically a girl at that point.
Yeah. You're gonna be the most honest in that moment.
You're not even a guy anymore, dude. All the testosterone isn't in control anymore, dude. Testosterone's dangerous.
Jiu-jitsu,
you're just an entity at that point.
Isn't jiu-jitsu like that as well, though? Right? Like, you come home after some really good rolling or hard training. Like,
it's not even that. Sometimes the people that you see,
it puts work, life, family, it puts things into perspective. Yeah. I mean, I try to do that myself during the day, like clients getting me like not annoyed, but like is being very needy or just something's not going right. And you got to kind of like, let me take a step back. For me, jiu-jitsu is that step back for everything all at once.
Perspective.
family, life, wife, relationship, like, whew, come back and like, you just got choked and you're like, okay, yeah, like nothing can be worse than like this, like almost like literally, right? We're killing,
you know what else does it?
It's simulating murder and breaking of joints.
How about this guy? Like, I'm not that guy. I kind of play around a little bit, but like the before class clown guy that like you're stretching and he walks up behind you and tries to choke you. Or like I mean,
that's
bro,
Flo.
I mean, I know, but like
we only have one of those. That's Flo, and everybody
pulls down.
But just think about the mentality this person has. Like, I really don't know any of these people. I don't know how they're feeling. All I know is that they're here and they love it when I fuck with them.
Yeah.
And they do it consistently, and I'm never mad. I never take it the bad way. Like, they go to shake my hand and then try to foot sweep me or something. And I'm just like,
now you're talking about the community of jiu-jitsu, that the community that we get. No, in a good way.
But just think about that individual as that individual exists, I think, in every gym. But just think about the mentality you have to be like, if I say hi to you, I'm going to mess with you somehow.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. They're just like, maybe that's how they're like the guy that goes hard, the ADCC guy. That guy has to do the prank thing.
Yeah.
You know? Like, but
it's part of the camaraderie, too.
Yeah,
I think it's part of the camaraderie. People just, like,
it gets me happy.
It's kind of funny thing because think about it. Like, where else in life you come across such a wide spectrum of people from all, you got people that, every job that you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But we're all pretty much like equal in there. We're all just wearing these uniforms. No, there's no like symbols or anything, right?
No,
we're kind of all stripped down to the basic
no status.
level.
There's no status symbol.
No, none of that, right?
When we had Piro
so
on,
dude's gonna come up and choke some other dude, and you know what I mean, and be like, "Fuck,"
And it's almost, I could almost equate it to. I used to train for triathlons sarcastically, and and so I would go with these pelotons.
Do you mean ironically or?
It's kind of both, bro. I don't like the community. And I got fat, and then I had a job at a time where like the bosses would run triathlons or whatever you want to call that, do triathlons, and it's like a very high pace, like high level, and it's an expensive sport. And so I was fat, and I was in Vegas, and he was like, "You're fat." And I was like, "You call me fat all you." I got the Mickey Mantle gene, bro. Like you dare me to do something, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I'm good. Like don't let it fool you. He's like, "You can't run a half Ironman." And I was like, "When is it?" He's like, "October." I was like, "Deal." And I mean, like that night, like in Vegas, like I started training.
I do know that about you. If I tell you can't do something, you're probably going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
If I want to get you to do something,
no,
I probably need to tell
I was about
you
to say
can't do
that
it.
you're not gonna. I'm not gonna be your
manipulated.
I'm not gonna be your Huckleberry. You know, but I will be like, all right, like you don't know. But anyways. You would see this in the cycling community. You would have like the guy in like the brand new Cervelo or Bianchi, like flashiest gear, SRAM, like Bluetooth gear changers and all that. And then you just see this like, 45, 55-year-old dude in like some Venezuela. And then like his bike is like, it's a good bike. You know what I mean? But he's got, Shimano 150s on it or whatever. And he's leading the pack, dude, averaging like 23 miles per hour. Viejito, bro, just like getting it, But it's like, that's how it is in jiu-jitsu. It's like, you could have the fanciest gi, the coolest rash guard, the whatever you want. But that dude in the raggedy whatever.
I mean, that's the whole like, you show up to jiu-jitsu, and we talked about it when we had George Piro on, like, the law enforcement guys that we train with, I trained with somebody for years, and I knew he was a Marine.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that he did something beyond the Marines. I had heard like DOJ, and he's in the freaking FBI, and I didn't know it. Like, he just didn't talk about it. It's kind of like people come, you just don't know who anybody is unless they
sit down. That though. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you don't know.
Because why? Think about that for a sec. Why do we need to know that, though? Isn't that sort of weird, though, that people
if you become friends, like, again, there's a community, you start watching fights together, you become friends.
Right,
and
right. Like, I pride myself on that, knowing that about my students. Like, I don't really know about their jobs and stuff. And some of them I know are like, they put like satellites in space and do like crazy cool shit that I have no fucking idea about. But dude, but you need to work on your armbar, bro. Like that armbar was kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? So it's like,
The first time I ever did a real Muay Thai class, the gym that I went to, I had Hayabusa gloves, like really nice white Hayabusa gloves. Yeah. They were a little bit. I had used them because I would hit the bag. White. But my wife bought me the like matching Hayabusa shin guards. Yeah, and they're like really big and thick, and they were like brand new.
They look like the Marshmallow
Man. And I put them
Man.
on, and the coach like all tatted up, like 5'8", but like probably like wider, like muscular, like wider to the side than he was tall.
Yeah,
he's like a bad dude. He looks at me, he goes, Does the Muay Thai match up with the gear? And I'm like, not at all. I'm like, I go, my wife just bought me these. Yeah. But like that was me. I showed up with all the cool gear, and probably everyone could kick my ass.
I'm not poor like
you. Wait, hold on. Did you? The only bad part would be, did you wear the pads in your car to class?
No.
Hey, how do you feel about wearing your gi top while you drive to class?
The guy, dude, I have a couple people that have done that. And I always tell them that's like, dude, that's kind of like serial killer kind of shit, dude. Yeah. Like that's weird, dude. Like it's one thing if you're like
running
just
late.
Your gi pants and like a rash guard, and you know what I mean. You're just kind of rushing to get there. And you got your flip flops on. But if you got your pants on, your top, your rash guard, and your belt
tied,
driving
in your car too,
or riding your bike,
and if you get out of your gas station,
dude stops at Whole Foods or Target or something.
Yes.
My wife does. She goes to kickboxing classes, and she wraps her hands at home and then gets in the car and drive. And I'm like, I try to get her out of it, but she's always like late and last minute. So she's like, she does it at home so she can just go right in and walk right into class. Yeah. I try to tell her how weird that is. Like you're driving and you got your boxing hand wraps on.
Yeah,
it's strange. It's weird, but she doesn't see that.
You look over, you're like,
You're like, look at this.
It's a little weird. I was at Starbucks one time and I realized I had like my Origin gi pants on, which those kind of actually look like pants because they're not high waters and they have the little belt thing. And then I had an Origin rash guard. It was a kind of a crazy one. And the lady says, "Are you a BMX racer?" And I said, yes, I am. And I told her I was. And I went into this whole spiel about how I ride BMX. I don't actually, but I didn't want to. Yeah, it was kind of funny though.
But you know enough of you grew up in that BMX boom era. I would think
I did, dude. Dude, I remember like the big thing when I was a kid, like back in the 70s, was every kid had like mini bikes. They were like little motorcycles, right? And those things they would go crazy fast. Nobody wore helmets. They were all kind of crazy.
So weed whacker.
Where did you grow up in New York? You mentioned New York before, and I forget. I don't know if we talked about it.
So not New York City, like the cool place, but like Syracuse, upstate.
Okay.
Basically, kind of middle of nowhere.
Yeah. I went the opposite way. Grew up on Long Island. But it was the same thing. You say New York to this day. I say New York, and people are like, "Oh, what part of the city?" And I'm like, "No, there's like a whole state."
So I always have to do that. I always have to say upstate. And actually, Syracuse isn't actually considered upstate. It's central New York. It's more like way in the middle of the state. You say New York to people, and they go, "Oh, New York City," and you're like, "No,
we're closer to
it's not that cool, dude. It's not that cool, dude."
I'm able. I could say Long Island. People know, "Oh, Long Island." Like, "Hey, where you from, Long Island?"
That's kind of cool.
That's the fifth borough, ain't it?
Yeah, well, no, they call South Florida the fifth borough. What's the fifth? Yeah, the fifth borough.
Sixth borough.
They call what is it? Wait, how many boroughs are there? Miami. See, that's how outside of New York.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Brooklyn,
they call
Queens,
South Florida the sixth borough.
Yeah. Sixth borough.
They call
Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island,
Bronx. No, Long Island's not a borough.
And he's the first Buddha.
Burro. Yeah, donkey.
Long Island's not a borough.
I thought it was called the fifth borough or something like that.
No. South Florida, they told the fifth, sixth borough, whatever the fuck.
Okay. I'll do my research.
Did Mike have a BMX bike? I had a red line black and gold series.
I wanted a Mongoose so bad. Mongoose on Long Island was the bike.
I had a red line, man.
And my parents got me a fucking Huffy for Christmas one year. I was so upset.
Dude, I had a Huffy.
Yeah,
I think my bike was called the Spirit of 76. I'm not even kidding, dude. It had the banana seat. It was blue and like sparkly, dude.
I think I know what he's talking about.
With that big color tassels, dude.
Yeah, man.
Now I kind of think about it, it kind of looked like a girl's bike. I'm thinking about it.
I wound up getting a hand-me-down Mongoose from my cousin, and I rode that one all the time.
This is kind of a hand-me-down. This bike was around for years. We rode that fucking wheels off that thing, dude.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I grew up like an hour outside of the city in an area called Medford. Most people know Patchogue. I grew up in Medford, and like next to my house was a good like almost acre of just woods.
Wow.
Right across the street was a quarter acre of woods. Every block had like a little bit of woods where they hadn't built a house yet, you know. So so we did trails and we dig out like freaking holes and make berms, and like we would just that was our life, was like get on the bikes and go right. And when we got sick of that, we'd have dirt bomb fights, be throwing like dirt rocks at each other with it, they would explode. Oh yeah, that was my life.
Dirt bombs.
That was my
remember
life.
Like taking like, you remember jarts when you were a kid, like jarts in the summertime?
No, what's that?
Do you remember those? Like they're like the dart things, you throw them. They're called jarts.
Oh, they outlawed those.
They got the big metal spike on them, right?
Yeah, you had to throw them inside of a ring.
Yeah, we used to take them and you'd get in a group with all the kids and we throw it as high as we could in the air, and then you'd run before it came down and like killed somebody. You never did that?
No, never. They outlawed those, didn't they? That's
why. Yeah. I think that's why.
Mike and his buddies killed Lisa down the road.
That's the equivalent of like the Tide Pod challenge.
That was a social. Right.
But that was kind of the 70s, though. We did like crazy, dangerous, insane shit. You would just like leave your house and never come home, right? Like
Roman candle wars.
Well, you could like leave in the morning and just like, hey, be back when the street lights start to flicker on. Make sure you're home.
Right.
All of our moms let us have paintball guns.
When we got junior high, though, we like, well, even probably younger, like we played street hockey. And some people played roller hockey. We played street hockey, football. You know, we just whatever you can play out, kickball. We just play out in the streets until the lights. You know, and if I stayed in front of the house, we were allowed to do like hide and seek and manhunt. But if I was on my block, like in front of the house.
See, we were supposed to stay in our block, but we would go everywhere. My brother's 3 years older than me, and we actually almost got abducted when we were kids. I'm pretty sure we were going to die. Oh, yeah, I don't know what happened, but like we somehow ended up in this little house that was on the back of somebody's property that some single guy was renting. Like, this sounds bad, right, already?
Yeah, really bad.
So let me tell you.
Casa de Murder.
It's crazy, right? Somehow, I don't know how, and I was younger. I was probably like 8 years old, so I was, a few years younger. I just remember being in his house. He didn't have a shirt on, and he's got like hardcore pornographic pictures hanging on his kitchen cabinets. And then he starts to show us that he's got this freaking big snake, and he's going to feed it a rat. And he's like, "Come here, let me show you the snake." And we were like, "I think we need to run."
Yeah.
And so we booked it out of this dude's house. Like, but that,
Yeah, he was definitely going to put something in your butt.
That's so scary. Yeah.
Probably the snake, dude. I don't know.
Yeah,
well, the snake was code.
something was definitely going to go in your butt that day.
That was definitely like serial killer kind of shit, dude. Yeah. Like it definitely felt like serial killer, dude. Like some shit was going down.
We had a couple of houses in the neighborhood that were just like
stay away.
Like the where I grew up,
yeah,
we were like on one of the last. But it was
practically
a chicken and strawberry farm. There were chickens and strawberries. And they took that land and they started to slowly cut it up and make houses where my house was built. But the whole rest of the neighborhood was like they were older houses. They had been there for a while,
right?
And then they took the last part of this farm and cut it up into lots. And we built a house there, so. There were a lot of older houses of people that had been there 20 plus years.
A lot of time to get weird.
And well, yeah, but like the houses get run down or, people don't take care of their houses. So there were a couple of those, and it would be like, you'd be like walking to school, but you walked a little faster in front of that house.
Yeah.
For
no reason other than it was old and spooky. It felt spooky.
Right,
you just didn't know, and you'd be walking, and it was really strange.
We had different reasons in my neighborhood.
Yeah. Why people... Why?
There was a lot of shirtless dudes who owned snakes where I grew up.
Yeah. Oh, you talking about Florida? In Florida?
Yeah.
When you were here? That's funny.
See, he was trying to put stuff in your butt, too.
Hey, Papa. Hey, Papa, ven aquí.
Joke's on you. Please don't.
No. Leave me alone. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's hilarious, man. So
that conversation.
And now we drive my kids to jiu-jitsu 2 to 3 times a week. And that's what they do. And play in front of the house.
Yay.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole. I mean, what do you think? You've been around a hot minute, like the surge of young talent. There's like a changing of the guards. I've been saying that a lot. I feel like
Yeah, and
at this
that's
point.
kind of what's happened. I think we saw that at ADCC, right? Like it is definitely that shift right now. And I think a lot of it too is that the upper echelon of the sport is just getting older now. You know what I mean? Everybody's sort of approaching 40 now. I just saw like Braulio's like 38 or 39, and Caval's up there now is turning 40. And so that's just naturally what's happening is, and I think too, we have to remember a lot of those guys probably had it in a lot of ways tougher than the younger guys coming up now, just the physicality on their body in a lot of ways. Like it was just, the nutrition, like the way that people train, the way that people,
recover,
didn't do the things that they needed to do, the recovery, all of that, the sustainability of it. It's just a very different now, I think, with younger people.
There's no money. There was no money back then.
There was no money.
So like now
think about it. Like, yeah, I mean, now there's all kinds of money, but back then there was no money. You were like paying to compete basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now you
so
could
it's
be
nice
16
to see
with 100K followers
Jerry
and a
Jitsu.
deal with a sweater company and jiu-jitsu and a gi company and a nutrition company. And
right. Look at guys like Mikey Musumeci, right?
Love that guy.
Like 25, 26 years old, right?
Sponsored by
he's making
cheese, lots of cheese.
Yeah, dude, he's making a great living. He's a smart kid.
He put all, well, I mean, he just basically decided I want to do one championship and I want to get that belt. And now he's like throwing out challenges to like Sambo guys. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah,
like to fight in his rule set.
Well, yeah,
maybe that's why I saw it.
Khabib said, he was being interviewed and he's like, well, Khabib said if Sambo was easy, they'd call it jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So he threw out a challenge to Sambo guys.
So he goes, I would like to extend an invitation to the Sambo guys and I'll assume a team of jiu-jitsu guys and then we could just go at it.
Well, but he was like, in the jiu-jitsu rule set.
No, I think he's like, you do what you want, and then I'll do what I want.
Go back and look at the clip. No, he was like, no, like I was watching and I'm like, he's really saying that he's gonna like fight Sambo, and he's like, at the end, he go in the jiu-jitsu rule set. So then it was like, okay, that makes more sense. Like, throughout the challenge, I can't see Mike. I mean, I don't know that if he could throw hands. I don't think that he could throw hands like like somebody else.
Why would he though? But why would he?
There's a gi top.
But I think
I could slow that game down.
I think that I definitely think that his that he invested in this one championship belt.
Yeah.
Like he said, I'm gonna move there, do this. He was like,
yeah, he's like learning.
Didn't do ADCC. Wasn't
language.
Did he talk about like going to ADCC or not going, or
he couldn't?
No, I don't think so at all.
He had appendicitis.
Okay, so he didn't.
So during his last Joe Rogan podcast, he's like, I just had appendicitis,
but they send out invites to people, right? They had like Gabriel Sousa got like an invite, and he didn't go to the.
Yeah, but he's still like, I think he was still recovering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but I mean, he's fighting in one championship. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, and that too. Yeah,
and that's dude. He's fighting in one on like Prime Video on a Friday night. You know what I mean? Like on a main event on a MMA show. When have we ever seen that?
I started to watch that card. I haven't even gotten all through. Like I didn't watch it live, so I've been watching it on.
No way you could watch it live. You have to be up at like 1 in the morning.
Well, no, I think it was like on in the afternoon. I think it was on in the afternoon.
It's whatever time it is.
It was on at a normal time. Like I watched
the morning
it like at a normal prime time.
They were conscious about making it the evening here. It was
they did it at like Friday night at 8 o'clock. It was
I remember that in the intro of the main card, it was like it's like 8 a.m. here in.
So they inconvenienced
them.
It was.
Oh my gosh, America's the best.
Yeah, but
they made amends for us.
Yeah, I that's the first time. I mean, other than watching clips, obviously online, it's the first time that I invested in watching a card, which I think is amazing. And I think this is a real. I think if you look back between Gordon and one championship, I think when we look back in 10, 20
Gordon
years,
is signed.
we're going to point out this time as like this.
These were the big things.
This was when jiu-jitsu. I was always saying jiu-jitsu will never go mainstream. This is it. This is when it. Between one championship doing what they were doing, which I hadn't seen, they were already doing it.
Yeah.
Between this and just Gordon, what he just did at ACC and what he's been doing, people are going to look at this like.
Don't forget, he's a one championship.
I think it has that potential for sure. Like I think it leaves the doors open for that. I don't know that it's there yet. It'll be interesting to see. I hope one will be here. I hope that they have. It seems like there's a lot of money invested into that. Yeah. I like the way that the show looks. You know what it reminded me of? I came up, in the Pride era, and I was actually at Pride 4 in the Tokyo Dome and saw Hickson fight. I saw Hickson fight like literally ringside Like, what's funny is when I wasn't there with Hickson, I was there with Juan Goez when he fought Sakuraba. He was my teacher at the time. And I got to see Hickson fight. I literally jumped up on the ring when Hickson tapped out Sakata, and I was high-fiving Hoyler. They're probably like, who's this white guy high-fiving us?
Yeah.
But
I'm going to go rewatch it now.
But I love one because it reminds me of Pride. Like, it just feels different than the UFC to me. Yeah. Like, and I know it is different, but it feels different. It reminds me of the old school.
It's a Thai boxing.
At least in Asia, isn't it as big as the UFC?
It's bigger
is here? It's bigger. Is it bigger?
There's more people over there.
That's the thing. It's like
monetarily, I think it makes more money than the UFC.
I've kind of heard that, but I can't say that.
I can't quantify it. I can't quantify it for you, but I'm just saying.
I've heard they pay really well,
Asia,
but I don't know.
You're talking about that.
Asia.
That whole freaking market has way more people. But I mean, do more people watch UFC? That would be a great thing to look up. Like, what's the audience that watches the typical UFC, and what's the audience that watches the typical one championship? I'm getting very interested in this because of the fact that they do. Okay, let's do, I guess, right, like an all Muay Thai or kickboxing fight. That. Let's do a jiu-jitsu match, and let's do an MMA
interesting.
Match. And it's interesting. I never thought that jiu-jitsu would go mainstream, and this is it. It did, and I didn't even realize
Mighty Mouse,
it was at least going mainstream over there.
Mighty Mouse did a 3-round fight. There was
round one was one discipline, right?
Jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, or something like that, or one. It was
one discipline. Each one was one discipline.
Yeah, each one.
I think was it like jiu-jitsu, and then it went
Thai boxing because he was going against a Thai boxer.
Thing, and then it went MMA. Did it go MMA?
Yeah, MMA, I think, or something like that. It did something like that. But I was like, even that is like,
I got to watch that.
Awesome.
I got to invest some time and watch that if I'm going to talk about it. But it's just like a whole new world. This is amazing. I was sitting here in this chair saying like this will never happen. Meanwhile, it was happening already, and I just wasn't watching one championship. I wasn't realizing that this was really what.
And there's so many athletes in America that are one championship athletes now. You got the Rotullo brothers. You got Danielle Kelly. You have Marcus Buchecha. Yeah. You have Gordon Ryan, Gary Tonin.
His contract just like I guess he got released. Like his contract expired. Gordon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I thought you were going to say Buchecha.
I mean, I don't know that he's not going to like do it again. But remember, he was sick. He couldn't fight.
Yeah.
Right. So
you got to watch that last Buchecha fight. Did you see it?
That was awesome.
It's like he threw a shitty double leg on purpose. It almost looked like because he threw a double leg and let the guy fall on top of him and just went ashi heel.
It just seemed like crazy. Like you were just like, well, part of me, I was like, I wanted it to go longer. Like I wanted to see Buchecha on the ground, and like I wanted to have a little,
But it's fun when we see if a fight goes fast, that it's from jiu-jitsu and not a knockout. Like,
and it was just
aren't you like
quick.
A little bit like this watching that fight? Like,
he's our champion.
I do that.
I do that. There's jiu-jitsu, baby. That's what we do. That's what we do.
I'm not Brazilian, but I'll go in my house. I was be like, "Porra!"
I was gonna say like Felipe. Felipe only watches he'll only
soccer, flamenco.
No, but he'll only watch UFC if it's just like definitely like a jiu-jitsu. Fighter that's like fighting
Anderson
in the main
Silva
event
against
like it's got to be somebody that's like a jiu-jitsu black belt before they even put on the gloves, like that kind of person. And then he watches it, so
that's kind of how I am. I want to see jiu-jitsu guys fighting. And that's kind of where I lost interest honestly in the UFC. Is it sort of like evolved to a point where it's a very specific looking feeling sport, you know what I mean? Like it just seems like you kind of expect it a certain way all the time. Versus one has that nice like mix of everything. It's kind of fun. It's like I want to see some Thai boxing. That's cool. I want to see some grappling.
If that would ever force the UFC, I don't think UFC doesn't follow trends. I wonder if this takes off where the UFC would like. I mean, they said they would never have a women fight, and the women fights are like
ridiculous.
Half
the biggest thing.
More than half the time are better than the men fights.
Hungry. I think it's because it's still so young.
Yeah.
That it's almost like college MMA level. It's very professional. Don't get me wrong, but what I'm saying in terms of like progression, it's almost at the cusp of where you could still have like everybody knows the divisions are shallow in the women's division.
Yeah.
Especially at the higher echelon of the division, the top 10 is very shallow in terms of what you get. And so like they always throw these wild cards, and I think, styles make fights.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you're going to throw me against a contender. I just got in the UFC and I'm going to fight a top 10 because they already ran through that whole division. Then
what I love is, again, talking about like jiu-jitsu kind of going mainstream this is kind of a little bit of a different way, but my father, like boxing guy, grew up. That's where I got my love of martial arts kind of came from watching boxing, doing a little boxing, then realizing, I could do kickboxing and kind of doing that on my own at the house with a bunch
of roads lead to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, and then it was just like, well, okay, I do this by myself. Then I went to train a little Muay Thai. Those guys also did jiu-jitsu. I wound up, my family friend opened a gym, and then I started jiu-jitsu. But my dad, I used to watch, once I started training jiu-jitsu, I'd watch like boxing with my dad all the time. But then when I started to like, hey, there's also a UFC on, and go back and forth between fights or try to watch the card, he'd be like, what is it? What? They're laying on each other. What is this? Come on. This is like stand them up, like that guy.
Stand him up.
My dad knows more names, can like he was always this guy. He was this guy with boxing. He's talking to me about UFC. He's watching Dana White Contender Series.
The best.
He's watching everything, and he'll be talking to me, and I'm like, he's like, oh, did you see the fight the other day? And he's like, I'm like, no, I didn't see. He's like, what? I thought you do in this podcast, and don't you talk about all this? Like, I
got to talk to your dad.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't have time to watch all the fights. It's like too much to watch. I've got to like listen to podcasts that guests are on, or watch more jiu-jitsu stuff. Like I'm watching the jiu-jitsu stuff, Dad. I love UFC, but because of the work, I've got to, do this. But it's like my father, like he hated it in the beginning, and now he's again watching the TV shows. Like again, Dana White.
I feel like how you feel about one. I've been catching myself on Prime just watching that, and actually even what you like. I go back and I watch Pride stuff too. Like
I love Pride fights, dude. Those are so fun.
Yeah.
Vandalay Silva and all the, Shogun, all those guys, dude.
I started watching UFC around the Tito Chuck Liddell.
Yeah. That was the big boom.
I know like the first fight I watched was like Tito defending the title, and then like all of that like rivalry between him and Chuck started to happen. Like they were friends and they trained together, and then they were like adversaries, and like we were never friends. Like all that shit. That's when I started watching. I think that you would that's like early 2000s, maybe like 2001, 2002, and I was addicted from the first. My friends like, you never seen the UFC, and I'm like, nah. I mean, I've heard of cage fighting. I've never watched.
Yeah.
That was it. They got me from that fight. I watched when
the tap out guys were in the side of everything.
I started watching every event. It was like we were having parties. It was like 3 roommates, all single, like party, like let's watch the fight, let's get drunk, and then started going out when places started got big, and bars started showing the fights.
Did you ever wear Affliction clothing?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
There's been a whole bunch there's always posts, but I saw a couple recently, like it was like the golden era of
Affliction.
Affliction.
And what was the name of that what was the name of that tattoo guy?
Ed Hardy.
Ed Hardy. You remember the Ed Hardy everybody wore?
Oh yeah.
Bedazzled shirt.
The golden era.
And what's the other one? American Fighter.
American Fighter. What about Bad Boy?
Dude,
the eyes, the Bad Boy.
Yeah.
See, Bad Boy was kind of cool though, like because there was a time when Bad Boy became cheesy, like in the U.S., but like early on in jiu-jitsu, if you ever saw anybody with Bad Boy stuff, it was like I remember it was a big deal to get stuff from like Brazil. I used to get stuff shipped from Brazil back in the 90s.
Is Bad Boy still around?
Bad Boy's still around.
Yeah.
Bad Boy's still around.
I used to draw it in school.
They're still around. Big in Brazil, dude. That was the deal.
That was a big doodle for me in school.
Yeah.
Was Bad Boy and then the Aerosmith logo.
And then like Tap Out came after that, and they had like
Tap Out,
like the two three guys. Like,
then the one guy died
with
and
mask.
Mask died, right? But they kind of like didn't they kind of come from like a little bit more of like the WWF when it was WWF? Didn't they kind of come from there?
They were like.
I think they were just enthusiasts.
I remember seeing them like back like as early as like 98. I remember going to a tournament in Virginia, and they were there selling T-shirts, and they were all done up with the weird mask thing and stuff.
One guy
and
had
we were
like a big orange afro or something.
Right. We were like, look at these goofy dudes trying to sell T-shirts.
Yeah.
But then, they went on to like become like, that shit became global.
Didn't
they sell it for millions,
sponsor
dude?
for UFC. They were it in the beginning.
They were ringside.
They were ringside all the time. And then they just, after that guy
they
died.
had that show for a while. They had a little show on.
Mm-hmm.
It was like they would follow like MMA fighters, and they had some TV show for a while that was actually pretty cool. I remember that. And then it's funny how that like just became so cheesy. And I think it's kind of when all that stuff reaches Walmart, Like when Walmart started carrying MMA, it was like
when you start to see that
the
TJ
death of
Maxx
it,
and
dude.
Marshalls, like the overstock that you start to see there.
When you
you're
see,
like, yeah, this has gone too far. This is too much now.
the barometer in South Florida is when you see the single 50-year-old guy in the ragtop Bentley pull up with the thing that was cool. You know what I'm talking about?
I could see like the affliction shirt.
Yeah.
I definitely, I definitely had a lot of the shirts.
I think I might have had an affliction shirt. I don't remember. Honestly.
I'm glad I was.
What was the other one?
I remember
Extreme Couture. Remember that?
One of my roommates let me borrow his Ed Hardy shirt. He never got it back.
It's so good.
But then I definitely had like,
Jesus.
and look, I'm not gonna lie, like I did absolutely shop at like to be cheap at like TJ Maxx, Target, Marshalls,
Trying to
and
find
get all those
shit,
shirts. Like,
hell yeah, dude, hell yeah.
And I find all these other brands like Lions and Eagles and like that, you know, and nobody knew the difference. But I wore those to clubs on the regular.
Only
that
the
was
guys know.
That was my club tee, man. That was my tee. That I walked into a club. Nice jeans, shoes, and
I've said it a million times.
Section on, looking at dude, nice.
Shout out to all my my Passion nightclub freaking
Patriots?
friends. Yeah, Hard Rock,
the old crew.
Not Passions, Passion nightclub. You know who knows when they leave off the S. They say Passions. You're like, who are you?
Yeah.
You didn't know anybody there.
You weren't OG.
My roommate worked at Passion nightclub at the Hard Rock. It was like the biggest, the best club at the Hard Rock in Hollywood. And shout out to Carlos. We don't talk anymore.
Just out here bragging.
Is that you at the front of the line?
And dude, I just knew everybody. Shout out to Will, the manager. No, like we legit. We walked up. We were hanging. My roommate was a bartender there, so like they'd get off, and me and my other roommate Adam, like we would hang out with them. So like my roommate Carlos worked there. My roommate Adam married a bartender. They're married with two kids now.
Bold strategy.
Yeah, like so we hung out with them. So when we went there, we just hung out. It was just like walk in, hey Will, what's up? And it was just like right in. Yeah, they don't pay. Go around the side.
Yeah,
almost never paid for a drink. One of the owners would basically like we'd run up our tab. They would take care of us during the day, but or during the the whole night. And then the bartender would, one of the owners, because there was like 5 owners, one of the younger owners that like, they all had their job to do. Some just watched the cameras to make sure everybody was doing their job, because like every bar had cameras. And then there was one that would come by and he'd be like, and like just clear our tab. And it was just like, we always got the nod, or he would just be like, yeah, you're good.
And that's
those
why that
affliction
club
shirts, dude.
Yeah.
No,
we'd be hanging out with my roommates, his soon to be wife, his girlfriend was serving us the whole night, and then she didn't, they had to ring the drink, so she'd ring it, and then he'd come wipe out the tab, and
nice.
it was those good old days, man.
The good old days.
I met my wife. When I opened my first marketing company, I officed there, and she would hear me talk about like, what are you doing tonight? Oh, I'm going to the club. Going to Passion. Carlos is bartending. We go Friday, Saturday. And she'd be like, oh my God, I thought you were such a freaking player and all this stuff. And I was like, I was.
No, I was cheap. I get free drinks.
Yeah, I got free drinks. One of my bartender roommate owed me money, and I kind of let him work it off. He'd put like a speakers in my truck, and he owed me we had gone to Vegas, and I just kept on lending him money while we were in Vegas. And he ran up this big bill, but at the time I had it, so he never gave it back to me. But I basically like drank it off every time I went there. For him, it was different than my roommate with the wife. But every time I would go to him and get drinks, he'd like run up my tab, and I would just be like, don't give you anything, and I'm going to take $50 off the tab. So every time I went, it was like $50 off the bill. So he was working off his tab by giving me free drinks from Passion.
Robbing from Peter to pay Paul, huh?
and I just drank for free for the longest time.
And now I just want to bring it to like back then, if you watched like the UFC or you watched any combat sport, you would either have to like wait till it was done and buy a videotape from some weird website, or you would have to know somebody who had the videotape from said weird website, or if you wanted to watch it live, like you had it like there was either like a CD bar or somebody's house, the black box. But like now,
I was watching it. It was already
you could go to Applebee's if you want to do that to your gastrointestinal system, and you could watch a main card pay-per-view UFC event.
Yeah,
and
different, right?
And then honestly, I mean, Dana, I love you, bro. But like, it's cheaper. I don't even drink that much. It's cheaper for me to go to a bar, and I've had this discussion with my wife. Yeah, I love watching it at my house. But bro, $75, like $70, $80.
It's gotten expensive.
You could go.
You could go out, take my wife out. My wife doesn't mind watching.
I could feed my whole family. It's me and my 2 kids. And like I said, we could go to like a restaurant that we all like sushi or something like that, and spend $100, eat, and then I make them sit there for 4 hours. And
seriously,
you've done it in a half hour, but they sit there for 4.
Yeah, I've taken 2 cars before.
Yeah,
and she's like, I'm here for the sushi. Bye.
Yeah,
I got to put the kids to bed.
Yeah, there's a great Miller's Ale House in Coral Springs.
We went there. We went there and watched.
If you hang out outside, it's like it's open outside. You can go into an inside restaurant.
That's cool.
But they do every pay-per-view UFC, and it doesn't get ridiculously packed. Every once in a while it does, but you can get there early during the prelims, get a table, and just be there the whole night.
Well, that's old
and
Coral
it's
Springs.
not so horrible. And boom, and you're watching. You're outside, fans. They're fans on the ceiling,
That's
so you
cool.
don't get really super hot. And it's a great place to watch.
You ever been to Florida? Like down here?
Yeah, not in a while, but yeah. I mean, when you live on the East Coast, like that's what you do. Like when you live in Syracuse, everybody goes to Florida in the winter. Like that's what you do when you're growing up.
Did you do spring breaks? Did you do spring break in Florida?
Well, no, it was more like I went to Disney World with my parents. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been much of a big party guy, so I never done like the spring break when I was back when I was younger. I pretty much after high school, I went to school for a few years, but then I ended up in the military and I ended up in the Gulf War. So that early 21, 22, I was mostly in the military and not really didn't have that kind of experience in a lot of ways.
What branch did you serve in?
I was in the Army. I was an MP.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. It's a long time ago now, dude.
Miguel's Army as well.
I was, yeah.
1990.
Yeah, dude. So you were in it when it was. I mean, that was the 45-minute war right there.
That was literally, dude. I got out of boot camp. I went to boot camp in 1989. I got out that summer rather. I went in 1990. So that summer 1990, and basically got home and then went to the Middle East. And I worked in a POW camp.
Yeah,
so that was my fun experience.
What was that one movie about the Marine sniper that went over there and just it was honestly, I can't remember the movie, but when I watched it, I was like, this is the most accurate deployment movie I've ever seen. Because it's pretty much just hurry up and wait and a ton of jerking off.
Oh my God, what's that?
Dude, exactly, dude.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything during the war. It was when everybody surrendered, we ended up 20,000 prisoners. Then it was huge pain in the ass. But yeah, a lot of hurry up and wait.
I had a buddy that served in the first Gulf War, and he says when we went there, he's they kept on showing on CNN, made it look like there was the tons of troops were already and he's we were watching and we were laughing because it was the same plane. Always there weren't that many guys on the ground.
Yeah.
He's even when we would go out on patrol, we spaced ourselves really far away. To them, it might look there were more guys than there were. He was these are the little tricks we made because there weren't a lot of
mind
us there.
Games.
Yeah.
Yeah, psyops is a real thing.
I'm trying to think of that movie while we're talking. I'm trying to think of that movie.
Dude.
It's not Hurt Locker. It's something like that.
No, it's an older movie.
Yeah.
It's about the first Gulf War, right?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. When he comes in when he first joins the unit.
I feel like I know the boat you're talking about too.
Yeah.
That he thinks that they're branding him.
Yeah.
But it's really a cold thing. But it makes it when they put it on him, it feels like he thinks he's getting burned. I know that movie. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll sort it out. We'll look it out.
I had a buddy.
But anyways, I mean that's the experience, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I was overseas 3 times. I was deployed 3 times over 3 years, all in Iraq.
Does that mix into you said early 90s, right?
Yeah.
Were you doing jiu-jitsu already or
after?
No, I was already doing martial arts. I started martial arts as a teenager, so I was doing martial arts, since I was about 12 years old, and then in the military, especially back then, they didn't really show you any martial arts at all. It was a joke what we were learning in boot camp. It was the most ridiculous nonsense you could ever imagine. Like, it was absurd. Like, even for MPs, like, we didn't learn anything. I already knew more, like, just from doing, traditional martial arts at that point. But yeah, I was already doing martial arts when I was in the military. But yeah, the military stuff was terrible then.
So you were in Fort Lost in the Woods, huh?
Yes, I was. I was at Fort Lost in the Woods.
Yeah.
I was at Fort Leonard Wood.
Yeah, man. I went there for sapper school.
I used to hear about when they went over, they'd have to take these pills, right? Did you have to take pills for like the?
Dude, listen, we took all kinds of weird shit.
Nobody would actually take they would spit them out.
No, we took them, dude. I remember taking a whole bunch of
the malaria pills. Those gave me nightmares.
Yeah, and I even got this is weird too. Like, after I served years later, I got a notification from the government saying that chemical weapons were disposed of near us in that area. So if you ever have any health problems, you might want to let us know.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's a little scary.
With the burn pits, dude. I was next to so many burn pits. Yeah. And then
there were burn pits all around us.
My favorite, there's a lot of them that are rumors, and my favorite rumor was that in basic training you have zero. Well, I don't know how it is now, but when I went, you have zero control as in terms of anything, right? Like sleep, what you eat, what you drink.
When to eat.
Not when to eat, what to eat, and how much to eat.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
So that you would always, they would always give you like an electrolyte drink, because they want you to stay hydrated, and it was always either like blue or red, whatever you picked. And then, but the rumor joke is that they put like saltpeter in it or something like that. So that?
I remember hearing that too.
Yeah, so you don't get boners. And everybody was like, weird. And then it wasn't until I was like maybe like 4 or 5 years in the Army that I realized that like my drill sergeants were children. Like, because like you look at these guys as men, and then like you're like, oh, he was just like 24-year-old fuck,
22-year-old dude, right?
And like 26 in the Army's old, But anyways, like the joke was like, oh, they put this so you don't get boners. And then I thought about it. I was like, no, you don't get boners because you're like around a bunch of dudes and you're stressed out all the time. Like, it's not a boner inducing environment. It's not very.
Is that something that actually
concerning?
Is that provable, or is that?
Of course, it's provable if you went like with a chemical.
Like, did you wind up finding out that was a real thing, or was it just?
But it's just like dumb.
No, I don't think that's.
They're always playing with you, like when you do like the water stuff, where they teach you like, oh, if you're ever burning, you need to make a flotation device, and they take you to a lake and they teach you how to like you take off your pants and.
That was a lifeguard. I had to do that.
Yeah, you do all this stuff, and like they're walking around with like little bottles of blue dye, and they're like, oh, we put the ICUP chemical in the lake, and if you pee in the lake, we'll know.
Can turn blue, yeah.
Exactly.
That's funny.
But if you know anything about anything, there's always like that dude from like that grew up in a school bus that's like, oh, and then there's like people who have half a brain.
The movie Jarhead.
Yeah, the drill sergeants.
Jarhead was the movie.
Yeah, the drill sergeants back then were just pretty much like freaking evil. Like, I remember like crazy stuff like that. There's no way they do now. We had like one kid, drill sergeant, threw him down a flight of stairs and broke his wrist. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Or I remember one time I was getting on a cattle truck or something, and I bumped the drill. Remember the cattle truck?
Yeah, that's
I
old
bumped
school.
the drill sergeant with my M16. I bumped him by accident. So he pulled me up in front of the whole formation, made me lay down on my stomach on my belly, and stood on me while he addressed everyone.
Hell
just like stood there for a while.
That's on you, bro.
Like that kind of stuff. Yeah. What?
I got
that kind of crazy weird shit.
Oh yeah, when I first got to my unit, they lined us all up, and then the first sergeant kicked us all in the chest, and he was like, "Welcome to the nasty."
Yeah,
and then then that night I got thrown in a water buffalo and driven around like
a water buffalo?
A water buffalo is just like this big metal container that holds water, so it's like essentially like a giant cooler water bottle.
Oh man!
But yeah, it wasn't filled with water or anything like that. But they just throw you in there. And then, like, most people are like, stop, no, I'm a man. And I was just like, oh, you guys are just having fun. So I just went with it, And it ended up being like, I never had a bad time getting hazed. Like, I got kicked in the chest, and I just started laughing. They're like, why are you laughing? I was like, because we're both we're like 8 years apart. This is hilarious, Like,
I don't know how
we're on the same team.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but like, you're on the same, like, I grew up wrestling. So it's like that. And I also grew up like, I don't want to say a rough neighborhood, but like if you made a wrong turn, it wasn't good for you. And and
shout out to Hialeah.
In the chest.
No, it wasn't Hialeah. I grew up in Kendall, which used to be before it was Kendall.
Kendall's nice now.
That fancy ahora. But now, it's like, I don't know. But I think it weeded out like that type of hazing and stuff like it. Some of it went too far, but like it honestly did weed out, or like it made a bond a stronger bond once you knew.
Yeah, I don't think. I never feel like it's fun to talk about now. Like, and I don't know that I was like, freaking out back then. But we were different back then too. Like kids nowadays probably couldn't put up with a lot of that. I don't think my kids could. You know what I mean? Like, these kids are so entitled nowadays versus like, that's just what the military was, dude. You got your ass kicked. If you weren't going to like accept that, you probably aren't going to be there very long. You're going to wash out, like that's just what it was, You're
going to be working. The dude at the desk at the HQ on the weekends. That's going to be you.
Wow.
Yeah, and most of us went in the military back then too because you didn't have a lot of other options. You know what I mean? Like it was like for college money, or you just didn't have like a career path or something clear. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I wanted to be American.
What was the process after going in the military?
You go to war.
Once you come out, then once you came out, you go to war.
No,
once you came out, do they go? Here's your citizenship.
Your military experience is what fueled my military dream.
Interesting. That's awesome. Well, thank you for your service.
You're worth it. When I came over from Colombia, I came over 1990, 91 when that was happening.
Oh, wow.
The first meal I ever had was McDonald's.
You told me.
The first thing I ever saw on TV was the Gulf War. Yeah. And my mom was like, ever since you saw that, you were like, I was that kid in middle school wearing camouflage clothes, like before school shooting was cool. Like,
wow.
Fucking, that's what I used.
I don't know if it's ever been cool.
I don't know. It's getting a little bit played out. I'm over it. And
it is weird though that when we were kids, no one did that. Isn't that a little weird?
Yeah.
People were just dragging you into their house and trying to molest you.
Bugs Bunny. Because we had Bugs Bunny.
No, it's because there weren't traceable amounts of SSRIs in your drinking water.
Right.
And, no, but anyways, like I was like just intrigued with because I came from Colombia, and when I came, a lot of stuff was going on in Colombia in terms of like the narco terrorism and stuff like that, and the drug war, and then just like it was just like very complicated, and like things were, and there were bad guys, or at least what I was taught to think were bad guys, and then so I came to America, and then I was like, what's this? And they're like, well, those dudes try to kill the president, so and we're about freedom here, and you suck. So we went over there. And we took it out, and it was just like a clear story. I was a child. You don't understand like that we were already in Afghanistan since the 60s and all this other stuff now that as an adult. But anywho, I was just like, there's bad guys, there's good guys. And I was like, you could like, and I was like, I don't like bad guys. That's the reason we left Colombia. And I was like, you could come here and protect your land against bad guys. And they're like, yeah. And ever since then, dude, I did ROTC. I watched every Chuck Norris movie.
You were kind of a nerd, dude.
Yeah.
You were kind of a nerd, weren't you? Like you were in ROTC?
Yeah.
Did you have the whole uniform and everything?
I did. I was Teflon coated, sir. I knew you were on it. When I went into the military, I was already on E3. They know how they try you.
So I was too, because the college credits. Yeah, I remember that.
So when they try you, they're like, oh, you're going to do PT. They just want you to fail. Like I knew the regulations. I knew the standards. I knew, like I could quote.
You were on it.
Yeah, like I could quote. Cause I went to
wow, that's so cool though.
I give credit to First Sergeant Henry Massey Jr. retired type, one each in Killian High School. He's still the ROTC teacher there. And I think he's probably like 300 years old. And no offense, sir. And but like, yeah, I went in and I was highly motivated because of just I came from a place where there's Escobar hippos in Colombia because Pablo Escobar flew hippos over there, and now there's an invasive species of hippos in Colombia because some drug fueled crazy man.
That's crazy.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah. Like, you can't do that here. You could try.
That'd be crazy if we had, like, hippos everywhere. Wouldn't that be weird?
Yeah, just because some drug guy was just
cool.
like...
I don't want hippos running through my yard.
Exactly. And they kill a lot of people. But anyways, that was... Cool. So, like, your Gulf War inspired me to be in the military. And...
wow.
What year did you go in?
I went... dude, 9/11 happened when I was my senior year in high school. I went... And... Yeah. It was like basic training, AIT, airborne school, unit, Kuwait, pushed into Fallujah.
Wow.
Like it was like that.
Quick.
Fast. Wild.
Yeah.
And then it was just a come home for
I've never said it to you. Thank you for your service.
You're worth it.
Yeah, dude. Seriously, it's badass.
I talked
and
you
so badass.
Mike, thank you for your service.
And where we're going with it was
welcome.
like I got my citizenship. I actually got my citizenship at BIOP, which is Baghdad International Airport. Got sworn in by George W. Bush.
Did you have to do all like
Junior?
the tests that other people have
Absolutely
to do?
not. No. My certificate, all of our certificates are actually from Italy, from Milan, because that was the nearest U.S. embassy that got tasked with making like 300 certificates. Yeah. And so George W. Bush Jr. on a big screen TV, like over satellite. Yeah, like, oh, thank you guys. You know, all these people tried to kill my father, and you know, it was cool.
Wow, crazy.
Wow.
All right, guys. Look, we're gonna leave it there. We're not gonna do the drill down with you, Mike.
We know
we covered so much of kind of those drill down things. And I would encourage people to go back and watch, I think, episode 36?
Wow.
I think it was episode 36.
It is 96, right?
Damn.
So this is 96.
You guys are killing it.
I want them to go back and watch that episode because that was amazing. And one of the reasons why we wanted to have you back on, I mentioned to you when we spoke before we did this that I love your take on jiu-jitsu. I think that a lot of people, especially in Florida, they get the whole, like, we're in the land of, American Top Team, and HQ is right up the road from, like, my school.
Right.
And you get that, like, kill. Like, for me, jiu-jitsu's fun. It's my stress release. I think there are two sides of this jiu-jitsu world. There's the, again, like, compete and train compete and, maybe want to make it a career in training and going further and doing the fight to wins and all that stuff. I get that, and I love it. And I just started at an older age where that's just not my. This is what I'm doing with jiu-jitsu.
There's a world for us.
Training and doing the podcast. I always say that there are more of us than there are of them. Meaning there are more people that do this that are hobbyists that are doing it for the reasons that we discussed, and not like, okay, I'm doing this for a career where this is my career. I've chosen to do this. I'm going to train every day. I'm going to go to, 2 trainings a day. I'm going to go to, stand up and Muay Thai in the afternoon. That's great. And I love it. And I hope you make it. And I want to see you on the UFC or One Championship, but there are more students and hobbyists than there are of those people. And there's a place for us. And we're supposed to say, right. Jiu-jitsu's for everybody.
It is.
Well, we have to be able to do that and treat them like they can come in and not get murdered on day one. Right? If jiu-jitsu's for everybody.
Yeah, and there's such a mix of people, and it's a huge world out there. There's I'll mention real quick as we wrap up. There's a gentleman on. I have my BJJ for 40 community online, but we also started a private site on Facebook, and today we just hit 20,000 members on it.
Congratulations.
I know. I was super stoked, right? Because what's cool about it is it's not me posting stuff. I almost never post because the community on there just posts like the greatest questions, and people go on there and there's hundreds of responses. So I've learned a ton of shit on there, literally from like people talking about injury stuff people go through, best ways to clean your gi, all that kind of stuff. But there's this one gentleman that I see on there all the time. His name is Gary Parrott. It's Parrett. He's 70 years old, right? It's a blue belt. And he's an awesome dude, man. He's a great example of where this art is headed.
That's good, yeah.
That there's people that are 70 years old that are practicing, dude. He does tournaments. He did a tournament too. Like, that's amazing, right? I love it. And so that's what truly inspires me. Yeah, I love seeing the Gordon Ryans and those kinds of people. That's great. Everybody competing. I love Mikey Musumeci. He's like my favorite fighter. But then I love guys like Gary, who are 70 years old, and guys that are in their 40s and 50s and 60s that are all doing it. That's, to me, that's the reward.
Yeah.
And then
awesome.
I just want to say one thing as well. I've noticed this thing that I heard you do it or mention or talk about it the first interview, where you were asked, why do you always take off your gi top? And you're like, oh, it's because so you could see the move clearly, especially like if you're showing it to somebody. So I don't know if it's you, man, but I've been seeing this a lot lately, like in YouTube instructionals and even in my gym. My coach, like what we were saying we were learning earlier, he took off his gi top to show the move, so there's like more clarity because it's more body on top.
Yeah,
and it's not gi specific.
We'll credit Mike with that.
I'm gonna credit you with. I just want to say, I'm gonna say I've been seeing that since then. I didn't see it, and now I see it.
Yeah.
I'm a trendsetter. What can I say?
I'm saying
you're an innovator.
Yeah,
right,
I'm an innovator. There you go.
Don't hang up because we're going to come take some pictures by the screen, but we're going to say goodbye to you. Thank you again for doing this.
Awesome,
Very much
you guys.
appreciate it. You're always welcome here. Love to meet you one day, whether we come out there. If you're ever in Florida, come down and train, please. Or do we'll do one of these in house.
I'm definitely going to Colorado.
Right on, yes.
Thank you for coming on again, Mike. Appreciate it.
Awesome, you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Take care.
Peace.
Stay right there.
Thank you to Neutral Zone CBD, a combat family-owned company that supports athletes and the people who love them. Neutral Zone strives to deliver clean CBD products for sports recovery in gummies, lotions, balms, roll-ons, and more. After a competition, a hard rolling session, or a tough day on the job, Neutral Zone has a product designed to help you reduce inflammation, increase cell rejuvenation, and may even help with aging joints. Visit NeutralZoneCBD.com and get 25% off your order with code JJD. And follow them on Instagram too, at MyNeutralZone. Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box has now joined the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. The BJJ box is delivered to your door filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. The crew at the BJJ box find the best in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Visit thebjjbox.com and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box. And give them a follow on Instagram at thebjjbox. Neutral Zone is combat family owned, so they know you need to keep yourself and your equipment clean. They created Neutral Zone Clean wipes and sprays for just that purpose. Neutral Zone products are formulated to reduce the risk of bacterial and fungal infections. Whatever's making you sweat, weight training, rolling on the mats, yard work, or just working around the house, Neutral Zone Clean wipes and sprays can make you feel and smell refreshed. Use code JJD to get 15% off your online order at NeutralZoneClean.com. While you're there, sign up for their newsletter to receive the latest info and updates on product launches like their new shower gel and soap bar coming soon. Are you Neutral Zone Clean? Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
All right, very cool, man. Great dude, right?
I love that guy.
Yeah, man.
I don't even know him, and I love him.
You weren't like part of the show.
No, but they're both.
Episode. Had you been on the show?
I had been a couple times, I think so. But both the episode numbers 96 and what was it 30?
I think it's
39
36
or 36.
I think it's 36.
They're both divisible by the number 3. So
Mike Bidwell. Oh no, 61.
61.
61 and 96.
Not divisible.
Oh, what did I think? 36. You know what I did? Brendan McCaffin's, I think 36. Maybe not even.
Anyways,
I've been posting from.
It was a good.
I've been posting snippets from 36. Man. I think that's why 36 is in my mind.
I don't think there's a podcast host who knows what the fuck
Jiu-Jitsu 50
anybody was on.
Well, I could look because I got the outlines with the number. It was Jason from Jiu-Jitsu 50 because I've been reposting the TikToks that. The snippets as TikToks.
I'm saying Rain Man style, like you're just off the top.
I'm not even gonna do my Rain Man impression right now.
Yeah, don't do that.
It would be bad.
Episode 24.
Thank you, Mike.
Episode 24.
Mike, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. We love having you on, and he's definitely one of those guys that I'd love to have in here.
Yeah, Mike is really cool, man.
Yeah,
pleasurable.
And he's very funny.
Come down and do a seminar, Mike.
I don't think you probed his humorous side enough. Because he's very funny, man.
He was having, Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He's got that super sarcastic
I definitely anticipate having him back on. And, we're kind of like in that sweet spot of having guests on second and third times now.
Yeah.
Where it's like, because now we know them. We're not starting from tell us when you started martial arts. Tell us about your journey.
We're also not there anymore. I think the show's evolved too a bit.
Yeah. No.
Are you show bragging? Right?
I'm not show bragging. I'm just saying it's a natural evolution of.
Hey guys, listen. All right, so let's do some housekeeping real quick. Don't forget to send your receipt if you purchase anything from any of our sponsors. You've heard us shout them out. You've seen their commercials on the show. Send us proof of purchase. We're going to enter you into contest.
It's getting close.
I haven't posted
dummies.
and I haven't. You know what? I got the text today. The pre-order is up on Flow and Roll. So this is going to come out for like almost 10 days. So we have a little bit of time.
So you can see it?
I'm right now creating posts. It's actually there on our team page. I didn't even look at it yet because I got the text today, but this is a busy day for me, and we come down here. But the rash guard and the shorts are on the team page, the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies team page on flowandroll.com. So you can go check it out. Go ahead. You could put in your pre-order. So yeah.
Mysterious Milton no more.
It's actually real.
It's real.
I love it. I think that it came out awesome. And we finally have our Peace Love Jiu-Jitsu shirt. And I have the next
there
idea.
It is.
Hey,
it's front and center, like right on the page. Oh man, that's dope.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah, go check it out.
Yeah.
What's that? Where do they send the receipt information?
They send the receipt on our Instagram at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies, or just email it to info@jiu-jitsudummies.com. Yeah. I've gotten a bunch. And, again, you're going to win $250 worth of jiu-jitsu swag. It would include a rash guard and the short set, maybe a gi, and hopefully some other swag from
this is
our
smart.
sponsors.
I've never seen this on Sean's Flow and Roll website where like he shows you the product and then you scroll over and it has the kids.
He's got the
kids size chart and then the men's size chart and the body composition.
Flow and Roll's no joke.
Flow and Roll's no joke.
He's got his shit together.
I just like him.
He's a nice dude. Yeah. I love working with him.
But he's good at what he does.
And I've got 1 million rash guards. Yeah. I wear his 2 short sleeve rash guards to every practice. I wash them, obviously, but
team wash.
I wear it to no gi and I wear it under my gi. I don't even wear my stuff anymore. His shit is on point. Doesn't ball up. You can wash it 1 million times. Doesn't fade. And I love the elastic.
Yeah,
the elastic kind of sticks so that it's not like
it doesn't go over my love handles. It's great.
Yeah, me too. But again, send us your proof of purchase, and we're gonna you could possibly win some stuff. We have some listeners that had sent questions. I think it was only maybe 2 or 3 that I said, "Hey, do you want a T-shirt or coffee mug, or would you like to wait for the rash guard, the top?" Because we didn't know we were doing shorts at that point, and we had a couple of people that said that they would wait. I have a little doc with it, but just if you want to remind me, like, hey, I was one of those guys, just shoot me. I spoke to you through Instagram. I know that I did. Just shoot me a message and remind me, and I'm going to put in the pre-order and pay for it and then have it sent out.
I feel like a couple people are going to change their minds, man, after they look at it. They're going to be like, I'm going to send you that thing back. Can I get this?
No, if you got your T-shirt or your mug, that's it. You got it. So, all right. So I'm Uncle Milty BJJ on Instagram.
You sure are. I'm JJD _DJJ.
You sure are. Bo?
At BADWERKSSS.
Bad works.
Thank you for watching and listening, everybody.
Yeah, man. Peace, love, jiu-jitsu.
Peace, love, jiu-jitsu. It's
Peace.
official.
Love.